Chillin' with Larry Magen.
Well, here we are, chilling with Larry Magen on a Thursday night, and you might notice we have a little bit of a different setup here tonight. This is our new Studio A, and I've got my guest Paul Deasy with me here tonight. My sister Susie is visiting me from Seattle, and we're going to talk a little bit about wine tonight. And you know, I've always wanted to learn more about it, and I've got two great people to learn from here tonight. But you know, Paul, I was saying when you came in before the show, we're making history tonight. This is the first time we're breaking in our new studio, so I'm going to name it after you. This will be now the Paul Deasy studio.
I hope I don't break it. If I break it, I bought it.
No, it's cool, man. I mean, we've been talking about this for a long time, so now we finally are doing it out here in a big studio. And
I'm honored.
And now we can have more, you know, multiple guests and everything. Mm-hmm. All right, so a couple things before we get started here. Tonight we're going to give away a pair of movie tickets, a pair of nice AMC movie theater. So what you have to do is you have to, we're going to do it to the best call. I mean, what we consider to be the best call of the night or the best contribution of the night is going to win a pair of AMC movie theater tickets. So that's all you have to do to participate. You see the number on the screen. We can also take Skype video calls. Mm-hmm. So if you have video Skype, you can just Skype Acorn TV and we can put you on a split screen here right in the show with Paul and Susie, and we can talk about wine. I purposely, you know, have kind of kept myself not starved, because I know you have to eat. You can't drink on an empty stomach. But you know, I'm not much of a drinker, so I'm just going to take a little taste and everything, and it's going to be fun. And if you have to crash here tonight,
we'll make up for the little bit that you're drinking.
And if you have to
okay, it's a deal. Yeah.
And if you have to crash here tonight, I've got an extra, spare bedroom for you. Okay. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So please, call in, ask your questions, tell us your favorite wines and everything, and we'll get opinions on the show on that. We're also going to have a very abbreviated classic film zone tonight. I got to get a little bit of my classic films in, Paul, especially when I have my sister here, because people have asked me, well, why are you into all these old movies? It was my sister, who's younger than me, that got me into these old movies. When I was a kid, and she was even a littler kid, she'd be watching all these old movies, and I thought, what's wrong with my sister? But now later, as I got a little bit older,
she was in control.
I started digging them, and now it's in my blood. But I know even like a tenth of what she knows. So we're gonna have an abbreviated classic film zone, and I picked an all-time favorite, "Singin' in the Rain." Mm-hmm. We'll show a couple of clips from that. It's nice and easy. So that's pretty much it. Now, also, before we get into the wine talk, Paul, I know that I want to just catch up with you a little bit, because it has been a while. We had you here about 7 months ago.
That's right.
Or 8 months ago now. And you were kind of fresh off shooting that movie.
The movie, yeah.
Tell us about the movie.
Well, the movie's great, and I've seen the screening a couple of times, and it's entered in a couple of film festivals, so we're waiting to hear about that. But more importantly, I'm really a bad guy.
Well, but that's you play a guy that's right in character for you, though. I mean, you're a nice guy.
Yeah.
But you do that role so well, because I saw the trailer. In fact, Ronnie, do we still have that trailer in there? We do. Was it like a minute or 2 minutes?
Something like that, yeah.
But you haven't seen it, have you, Susie?
No, I don't even know this.
I'll tell you what, this is a movie that was shot here in Minneapolis, and it's going out to film festivals.
Yeah, it's been entered into a couple. I'm probably not supposed to say which ones, because that's probably bad luck, but I think it eventually will screen in Minneapolis for sure.
Okay. Well, they just had their film festival about 3-4 months ago.
Yeah, but they get their submissions in advance and then they read it out. But so we'll find out more about it. But it really is a kick. It's fun watching the reactions of the audience, and and even people that were in it who hadn't seen the whole product, and they're saying, I really hate him.
No, but what's really cool is that you got the lead role, the starring role. So I mean, you're not just passing by in there. It's you're it.
Yeah, it's fun. It really was.
Right.
It was a great
experience.
Let's
take a look at that. It's called Mistreated. Here's the trailer for the film. Check it out.
Clem's been working late every night. I don't even really see him anymore.
Well, there, you got a kinky husband.
Hey, honey, it's me. Sorry I missed you. Looks like I'm gonna work late tonight.
I know that I can't be married to a man that I don't trust.
Dude, I put his nuts in a blender.
I hired a private detective to follow him.
Jesus Christ!
Tell me the truth, Clem.
What happened to your neck?
I
told you I was with Billy.
Really?
Really?
Well, that doesn't explain the welts on your back and neck.
You know, I bust my ass at the agency all goddamn day and I gotta come home to this?
Confess.
Well,
Maybe more than admission.
You know, I thought we had a good, honest marriage. Where were you tonight, Clem?
what?
So Billy Vogel put this card in your jacket pocket.
Billy Vogel, shit! Ah!
Billy is such an asshole.
You're so full of it. Oh.
Well, you know,
I think I was the one mistreated in there. if
I'm
really
going to tell you
wants to know.
something. I see that trailer and I say, that's a movie I want to see.
It really was fun. I was actually reminiscing about at watching the scene where I had to drink a beer and I kept having to open a beer and drink it because, you know, I'm a method actor.
So every time you did a take, you know, there's a famous movie where Fred Astaire, who always appeared proper, he had to act drunk and he didn't really act drunk, so he was actually drinking a shot for every take.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know it is. Holiday Inn.
Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in any case, before we, you know, I think it's time we should take our first sample.
Love it.
And of course, I have my sister here, Susie, who she manages a wine bar in Seattle, and she knows wine, and she's in town. That's why I asked you to join us. I thought this might be fun.
No, this is absolutely fun. And what are we doing first?
So being from Seattle.
We'll pour and then
Okay,
I'll pass.
I'll just pull this.
Yeah.
So being from Seattle, we'll be having a good fair amount of Washington wines because they're so great.
So you were happy I chose one.
Yes, I am. And
But she
chose a
brought Washington.
I brought
Yeah.
Washington wines, and he brought a Washington wine, and I'm very happy about that. But this is a rosé, Syncline from Syncline Vineyards, and it's made from mostly Cinsault, but there's also
Cinsault?
Cinsault, and I'm
What
not
is
wearing my
Cinsault?
glasses. Cinsault is a grape. Cinsault, Mourvedre, Grenache, Counois, Carnigna. These are all grapes that are grown in Washington, but they're traditionally grown in the southern Rhone region of France. Now, a lot of people are afraid of rosés because they think they're going to be sweet. This is not a white zin. This is dead dry. It's going to have nice minerality, taste of wet stone. I don't want to put
Wet Stone.
wet stone.
So people are
All right, so
afraid.
now you got to tell me what to
of
do,
rosé?
you guys.
Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
first thing, well, we would assess the color if we had a white background, but you can see the color. But let's get right to smelling.
And
So
smelling and the
I've
legs.
noticed you guys are swirling. What's that all about?
It's releasing the alcohol that brings up the scent.
And then you sniff it.
Yes.
Now,
Go ahead.
listen, I was going to say, Susan is much more schooled than I am. I'm an accidental wine enthusiast.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is when I first started on this journey of enjoying and drinking wines and having been on many wine tours, I remember the first thing somebody taught me a long time ago. Because I'm saying, well, you're sniffing the cork, you're doing this. And the first thing they said was, well, obviously the aroma is very important, but if it smells good, it's probably going to taste good.
Right.
So I try and reduce to the simplest element because that's really true. So that's the first thing, and it's the same thing with the cork. Why are they doing that? Well, is the cork bad? I mean, corks can sometimes go bad. Does the wine go bad? Does it go rancid? So all of these things are simple, and I like to reduce it to its simplest form, and that's how I kind of got started on the journey.
Okay.
So how does this one smell for you?
It smells wonderful to me. I smell peaches and nectarines and wild strawberries and and a little citrus.
And it's fun too, as you say. You know, when you spin it around, you know, you can see that residue that we talk about, the legs.
The legs.
And the legs, this tastes fantastic.
Isn't
by
this
the way.
fabulous?
Yeah, this is really. Cheers.
Cheers.
Chilling with Larry Megan.
Yeah.
And this is truly chilling.
We really, for the first time. I mean, you and I actually were for the first time. This is only the second time I've ever, drank on the air.
Oh,
the
the
first
other-
time was with you
With a big ass cab.
with the big ass cab, and now the second time. But we're going to make a whole show of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think from now on, anytime we do a show where there's any drinking, we'll call it, a Paul Deasy show.
Is that a good thing? Is that a good thing? I think it is. I'm stealing a piece of cheese.
So see now, was this sweet at all?
Yes.
Oh, you thought
A
this
little
was
bit.
sweet?
A little bit.
I don't get it.
I
don't
like
get it
it.
all?
To
It's
me,
fruity.
it tastes
I get
dry.
fruit, but it's
That's a great point. And we should probably discuss that a little bit. Anything that is where fruit is the highest thing that I'm tasting tastes a little sweet to me.
okay.
But that's me. But I like
Right.
down and dirty. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
You
big
don't
and
like
earthy.
but you don't like a fruit forward wine.
Not a lot. Some of them
You like, yeah.
depends on what the undertones are.
Okay.
When I'm drinking them.
Right.
But this is fabulous, and this is it sweet to me?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is
This is kind of dry to me, which
yeah,
is what I
but
like.
also
I
I
like
think this has some nice acids to it,
Mm-hmm.
meaning that I think it makes my mouth water.
Well,
so this is called a rosé.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the name of this wine again we're drinking?
It's by Syncline Vineyard, Syncline Winery.
Syncline Winery, and that's from the
Syncline
state of
Cellars.
Washington.
Yes.
Do you carry this in your wine bar?
Yes.
Did you bring this one?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know if you brought it or Paul brought
Yes. Yes.
no,
it.
she,
Or did I buy it? I don't know.
No.
Because we all contributed here.
because we did.
Right. Right.
We've got about 10 bottles of wine here. I don't know if we're
Yeah.
going to make it, but
And we're not
And we
leaving
sh-
until every drop is.
well,
Right.
my sister told me tonight, Paul. She says, these wines, once you open them, they're only good for like 3 or 4
Hey,
days.
this is a good point.
Not even, but I've got some vacuum in.
Let me ask you something about
Mm-hmm.
that, because I've noticed that too, and my wife is a big fan of the white wines,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a huge fan of reds. Almost any red will do.
Mm-hmm.
But I find that the whites can probably stay a little bit longer,
Yes,
and whereas reds, literally borderline the next day, I don't want it.
that's right. So, do you? Unless I live by myself. I don't drink a full bottle of wine every night, but I'll have a glass or two. So a vacuum vin, right, do you know what that is?
Mm-hmm. I do. We have one of those.
Right,
Yeah.
you pump, and it's literally changed my life.
Yeah. it's-
Because I can now open. I was reluctant to open a nice bottle of wine for myself because I didn't want to waste it.
Mm-hmm.
But now I can open a nice bottle of wine, and it's still good the second day. So
Yeah.
the second or even the third day, because I'll pump it and get the
Nice.
which yeah. So and it's an inexpensive tool, and you can buy it at any wine shop.
Fantastic.
Vacuum in.
So how do we rate this one here, Paul? What do you think?
I love it.
You've
yeah.
had this before.
No, I have not had this one
Yeah.
before. No.
Well, it tastes good to
I
me.
love it.
Okay, we have someone on the line here. It's Walter from somewhere. We're going to see in just a minute here. But Walter is on the line from Fitchburg, Massachusetts. Walter, welcome to Chilling with Larry Magen.
Yeah, hi there, guys. How are you doing? How are you doing
Fantastic.
tonight?
Fantastic.
I guess I'm gonna jump right in with something. It seems to me that a lot of people turn their noses down on sweet wines, and I was just going to recommend. Actually, it's Fitchburg, gang, like John Fitch, but that's okay.
Fitchburg.
Yeah, right. In any case, a wonderful wine, and it's the only one I can recommend from this particular vineyard. It's a late harvest Zinfandel from Apollo Vineyard in Paso Robles.
Oh.
It's everything that they say it is, and that the label and anything that you'll see in the shop where they may be selling it, they'll talk about it's all about the blackberry flavor. It's wonderful, but the kicker is this: it has a finish of fine chocolate. Period. That's all you need to know. It's a wonderful wine. It's about $40 a split. It's just wonderful.
I have never had a late harvest Zinfandel. I have had a port made from Zin, and that sounds really good. I love my late harvest Rieslings. I even have a late harvest Chenin Blanc, and they're dessert wines. But they
Exactly.
and I don't know about the Zinfandel. Does it have bright acids, high acids? Meaning, so it's sweet, but then it's kind of tart, and it makes your mouth water.
Yes, it's
We say that a
wonderful.
lot. Great. Yeah, it sounds wonderful.
This particular Zinfandel, it's going to sound strange, but the berry flavors are almost explosive in your mind. It's unbelievable.
That sounds like something I would definitely want to try. That's
Really unbelievable.
The Shiraz I
it's
bought.
really highly
Chocolate.
recommended. And again, it seems to be popular with the ladies. Go figure, because of the chocolate finish.
yeah.
Paul, you were saying that you brought a wine that has...
I bought a Shiraz, and some of the Shirazes, especially from Australia, have this one has a little bit of chocolate undertones. But it's funny. When I wanted to ask you a question, because I love having Susan here to bounce things off of, and maybe
Okay.
you feel the same way. I think that some of the myths that I think we can destroy, or at least I do, is that idea that fish has to have a certain wine and meat has to have a certain wine, and I don't feel that way anymore. Do you?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And it's not only that you just can't talk. My brother and I talked about this last night. He said, what would you serve with pork? Well, it depends. How is the pork prepared? What sauce does it go with? And, what sauce is it? How is it prepared? How is it served? And that will also tell you a lot of what, or help you decide what wine. But I want to get back to you about late harvest, and I don't know if you are familiar with what does that mean, a late harvest wine. So a late harvest wine, most wines would be harvested in late fall, but a late harvest hangs even longer on the vine when the weather starts getting really cold, and it brings the sugars out to the in the grape. So it's going to have higher sugars. It's not going to be fermented all the way through. It's going to leave a little residual sugar, meaning that when you're fermenting, sugar turns to alcohol. They don't let it ferment all the way through. So now you have residual sugar. And that happens with great late harvest wines.
Wow.
Because the longer it hangs on the vine, the more sugars are produced, and particularly when it gets cold.
Where did you learn all this, Susie? I mean,
and I could even be wrong in some of those facts because it's been a long time since I've been to school on this. But is that what you know, Walter?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you get down to it, it's the same process of just going to your produce section and you're picking fruit. You know they're picking fruit early when you see it's not ripe and it's hard, and it's generally horrible stuff because they're picking it early, so it will get to it'll get to your supermarket before it spoils. But don't expect it to be sweet. Grapes naturally, the longer they're going to be hanging on the vine, the sweeter they're going to get.
Right. And do you know anything about ice wines? Have you had an ice wine?
What type of wine? I'm sorry.
An ice wine. That's like even.
No.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I plead guilty. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's great. So, late harvest, they let it hang longer on the vine. Ice wines, and they, particularly when I think of ice wines, I think of Canada. They actually let them freeze on the vine. So they are keeping the wine in the snow, in the ice. What that does, it freezes the water in the grape. So all you have is just sugar, and then they press it, and it's
delicious.
It's syrup, but again, high acidity. So it's not just like cloyingly sweet. It's got nice acidity, great sugar, and it's like syrup. It is really a good dessert wine.
Walter, I want to thank you for your contribution tonight. That's a great call. Any last word?
No, my pleasure. I just hope you enjoyed that Donald Fagen that I sent to your webpage the other day.
I don't recall. Remind me.
Walking between the raindrops with the Hammond organ in the background.
Oh yes, that was excellent. That was you.
That was me.
Oh, you're Walter N.
That's me.
Peace. I thought that was an awesome number. I was not familiar with that. I got to share that with my sister.
It's all the same thing.
Awesome. Thank you, Walter.
Thanks, Walter.
That was
You're very
great.
welcome, guys.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you.
There appears to be a hole in my glass. I don't know. Does anyone else have this problem?
Well, yeah, I'm out too. Now, do we want to drink more of that?
No. We
Should
need,
we move
we need to
forward?
take the journey.
We need to do a journey, but now, Susie, you insisted that we have to have cheese and crackers and meats and everything. And you went and bought apples behind my back, but that's okay.
Yeah, well,
Because I don't really do, fruits and veggies and stuff. But that's cool. So what is this all about? Now, we have to eat cheese and stuff
you don't
like that?
have to. I just wanted to have some food here because if we're going to be, we've got a 2-hour show, and if we're drinking, it's nice to, number one, have a little something. The crackers are great to cleanse the palate, but also, particularly as we get into the red wines, sometimes I think our next wine is an Italian wine, and they go great with food. And so sometimes to help bring out the qualities in the wine, we can have a little meat with it or a little cheese
we
with
can
it.
do that.
We can play and see what we can discuss. What do we think goes better with the wine?
Absolutely. But also, so you got the cheese, the meats, the crackers, but I noticed you brought in some chocolate. Now,
Yeah.
here's your plate of chocolate.
Honestly, I think it's one of the best kept secrets in the business of drinking red wine is how great a dark chocolate in particular goes with red wine. And I often will have something like that for dessert when I'm having a nice great dinner with the red wine.
Now, is your wife Judy watching this show tonight?
She probably, she's traveling, so if she's back in time. But yeah, listen, Judy is a wonderful partner in the wine with me, and she also, this is interesting, she tells a story all the time about some of the top 10 healthiest foods. And guess what? On that list, red wine. On that list, dark chocolate. On that list, olive oil. So a lot of things that you wouldn't believe and that are really very, very good for you.
Okay, so what's our next step here, folks?
Okay, so what
We're
is that?
going to Italia.
By the way, you notice these beautiful wine glasses,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Now, I had some wine glasses here, okay,
Of
that
course
I
he talks.
that I bought, and my sister took one look at them, and she said, "We're not drinking out of those glasses
Yeah.
because it was real glass and it was too thick." She said, "We have to have crystal." I said, "What?" She says, "I'm buying them for you."
Well,
And she bought these as a house gift.
let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
Because you know how a wine breathes, how it's opened, what it's served in, can make all the difference in the world. And they actually have different shaped wine glasses for different types of wine.
Now, before you take that bottle away, should at least show the
Yeah,
bottle.
let's talk about
Let's
it.
Oh,
show
yeah,
the
can-
bottle
Little
that we're going.
May I discuss?
I didn't bring my glasses, so
Okay.
please describe what year, what is it? and-
This is a Rosso di Montalcino, and this to me is one of the best kept secrets. It's a Il Poggione. It's 2009.
Okay.
This is one of my favorite wines and one of the best kept secrets in the wine business because I had a chance to go to Tuscany and to go to the Montalcino region. And what you find is one of the finest wines in the world, in my opinion anyway, my humble opinion, is Brunello. A Brunello,
We looked at that.
yeah. Brunello's a pure Sangiovese.
It was double price.
It is, and sometimes more so. And that's why I call this the best kept secret. This is, as you said about babies, this is my baby Brunello. So if you love an Italian wine, and if you want a wine that, yes, loves to be drunk with food, but I can drink this all day long by itself. That's how much I love this. And I haven't had this particular one yet.
Yeah, now, for the Sangiovese, Chianti is a Sangiovese
Correct.
grape. And actually, the Monticello, or the
Montalcino.
Montalcino, this is a Sangiovese clone.
Right.
Right.
So
What does that mean? A Sangiovese clone?
Clone. It is a Sangiovese. Well, it's. This is too scientific for me, but
What is a Sangiovese? A grape?
Sangiovese is the grape, and it has mutated. And I'm not sure really if it's a clone. I mean, I don't know if that's there's mutations and there are clones. So it's not a. I don't know how to describe it. I'm sorry, I don't have the terminology.
but
But it's a Sangiovese
yeah,
clone.
and here's the bottom line on this. And she absolutely, if you love a Chianti, and Chianti is a great thing to have with the red sauces and the pastas that you love so much. In fact, my wife won't drink any Chianti unless she's eating,
Okay.
and I understand
Yeah.
that. The Sangiovese, when we talk about the Brunello, basically that's a Sangiovese whereas the Chiantis will have a blend. It's going to be a certain percentage.
Well, not necessarily.
Yeah.
Like a Chianti Classico and a Chianti Superiore and a Chianti is Sangiovese. Now, Chianti Blend is a Super Tuscan.
Yeah, correct.
Yes. Yeah.
So, you you having
Oh,
one?
Let's pass this over.
But by the way, this smells so good.
Yeah.
This smells so good.
Cheers. And so what I find is, and from when I went on the wine tastings over there, is your Brunellos are basically, I hope I don't get this backwards, is it 3 years in the oak or 2 years in the oak?
That's the difference, and I think it's 2. But you know what?
Two oak, 3 bottle.
I
So-
think that's
yeah,
it.
Yeah, so it's 2 years.
Or is
in-
it 3 oak and 2 bottle? I think it's 2 and
2
3.
oak, 3 bottle.
Yes.
Whereas the Rosso,
Doesn't have to be.
no, it's one. Oh, this is what they told me out there.
Oh.
1 oak, 2 bottle. So it's 3 years from the time that
Okay.
that it goes out, and your youngest Brunello you're going to drink is 5 years. Now there's so very little difference between the two to the average person. That's why I say you can go buy in the wine store the $50 to $60 bottle of Brunello, and you will enjoy it. I promise you. Or get the best kept secret. Look for the Rossos. They're harder to find.
Yes.
They're harder to find, but they're worth it, and they're usually about the price of a nice Chianti. So I think that it's really one of the best kept secrets to me.
Paul, you have to check out one of your trips here to Minneapolis. I'll even go with you.
Oh yeah.
This wine store that my sister and I went
Yeah,
into.
you were
We
telling me
stumbled
that
into
today.
yesterday. It's called
Yeah.
Haskell's.
Yeah.
It's on 78th Street, which is the 5 over here.
And a great wine
And
steward.
the manager, I mean, he knows
Fantastic.
everything. But this particular wine, the Rosso di Montalcino, it said 39 something a bottle, which I thought that's kind of expensive, And they had the Brunello, which I think was a little bit more maybe. But then they had a special going, you buy one, you get one free.
There you go.
So we got 2 bottles. And Susie said, well, I'm taking one home.
Good for you. Good for you. Well, I find, and honestly, I know every place is different.
We have a call.
Oh, we do?
Oh,
I know every place is
yes.
different. But for me, the Rossos, I'm always looking for that kind of $21 to $27 price, and that's where it should live, and it really is.
Yeah. Well, listen, I've got a real special treat now. Before we go to, because we have a caller on the line,
Okay.
and it's a friend of mine. But before we go to the caller, I don't want to skip over. We're supposed to eat something, Susie. Have you guys been eating?
I had a cracker, but why don't you go to your caller and then we can.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do it. I've got Steve Ebol on the line now. Steve is a. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Well, Larry, I'm glad I was able to sneak away and play hooky for a minute. We were very busy at Antonello Ristorante and South Coast Plaza Village, but I had to jump in and give you guys a quick call to say hello. And since you're talking wine, you're talking my talk.
I know. Steve is the general manager of really one of the finest restaurants, the whole, Southern California, Antonello's Ristorante. It's right across from the, the Orange County Performing Arts Theater or something like that? Steve?
That's it. South Coast Plaza,
South Coast
Performing
Plaza,
Arts Center.
yeah.
We're right in the hub of South Coast Metro.
And Steve is definitely a wine aficionado for sure. And I went onto your Facebook page, Steve, to try and pull just a couple of nice pictures of you. And, and my goodness gracious, I could have pulled 300 pictures. I think I pulled about 50 or 60, but you've been on like every winery. I mean, you've been all over the place. You've had a lot of people in the restaurant. Let's take a look at just a few of the pictures of Steve. Steve, if you can see the computer, tell us what we're looking at.
Yeah, that previous picture you just flashed up was actually when I was at Lewis Cellars up in Napa Valley, and a very famous wine that they create, which is a blend of Syrah, Cabernet, and Merlot. It's called Alex Blend. And that particular bottle is one of three only bottled, hand bottled. And this was presented to me after they had it laser etched. And they brought it down from the winery, and they had a picture of me sitting that was pulled off of my Facebook wall. That was me sitting on their forklift on bottling day, and the back of that blank bottle right there was my likeness in a giant picture, and then on the front they had the Lewis Cellars logo, and that's before it was ever custom etched for me. So that was a year ago this past June in Napa Valley at Lewis Cellars.
Well, Steve, it sounds like you've really milked your position quite well.
Well, I definitely earned a few large bottle formats. As Larry knows, my Facebook, has a picture of me holding a 9-liter bottle of David Arthur Elevation 1147, which
We have that picture. Ronnie,
Yeah.
it's the very first one at the front of the list. Let's quickly show it. The picture Steve's talking about. You said that's a 9
liters, wow.
It's the
Yeah,
very...
it's basically a case of wine in one bottle.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And that bottle is one of 6 bottled per year by David Arthur Vineyards in Napa Valley. And there it is.
Yeah.
There's the boy. That was in one of my wine cellars at work, and it's definitely, it holds the equivalent of 1 case of wine.
Susie,
So
have you
that
ever
was
seen a bottle like
a very
that?
special
Yeah.
bottle. It's never been opened, and it's
Never
has neither the Lewis Cellars Alex Blend. I'm keeping these for a very special occasion, and I am just enjoying having them as part of my collection.
Steve, I have a question. Steve, this is Paul Deasy. I have a question for you. One of the things that I like to do with my friends who love wine as much as I do, and who have been on some of the wine tours that we have, we like to get together, we'll have a party, and we try and say, what's the best value for the money wine that we can bring? Kind of one of those best kept secrets. And I know that you must have something, a little nugget, that you can share with us that I can kind of beat them up the next time I have the wine dinner.
Yeah, well, first of all, I know you're very wise in picking the Rosso di Montalcino. By the way, that is one of the best kept secrets in Tuscany. I mean, I look at it as Brunello's little brother. Oh, there I am with my golden. Wow, Larry, you really flattered me with that. I was about 10, 15 pounds heavier in that shot, so you got a little pictures of me. But that was up in Long Beach at the Southern California Restaurant Writers Awards. And anyway, thank you for going on my Facebook and digging that one up. That's definitely an archive picture, but I'm very proud of it. I often like to say that, and first of all, when you guys were talking Sangiovese, the Morellino di Scanzano is a southern tip of Tuscany's best kept secret. The Morellinos are usually Sangiovese with Cabernet. And if you do a Morellino at a party, it is, somewhat of a super Tuscan, I guess you'd say, because it is a blend. And when you guys are trying to pull out the clonal varieties, by the way, the two most popular clonal varieties of Sangiovese are the Sangiovese Grosso
Yes.
and the Sangiovese Gentile. And those are two of the clones. I know Banfi uses up to 5 different clonal varieties and 3 different soil types before they finally make their final selection to make their Brunellos at Banfi, for example. The Mariano family are very specific about which clone and which soil they use. So both the soil and the clonal varieties play into each other as far as the final product.
I'm sorry I'm eating, but I have another question for you, Steve.
ahead.
I apologize. Are you familiar with, and there's one that's really on the outskirts, really just across the river from that separates Montalcino, and it was Casale di Bibbiano. Have you ever had anything from there?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bibbiano is actually, Bibbiano makes a super Tuscan that I absolutely adore. That
Argante?
Yeah, Argante.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In fact, Argante is on my wine. Oh, there I am outside. Look at this. I'm loving this. I have my radio turned down, as they said, but I'm looking at a picture of an outdoor event we did that was last summer. That was a charity fundraiser. Yeah, Argante from Bibbiano is actually one of my dearest friends in the wine trade.
Alberto.
In California. Franco Maniaci is the wine importer that brought that into the state of California.
I love your opinion. I had a chance to visit that winery. It's owned by a friend of mine who is a restaurateur like you, and he had a couple of restaurants in Westchester, Pennsylvania called Alberto's. That's his name. He has this wonderful place, and people can actually go and stay there and even harvest if they want to. But I had his first harvest of a Cabernet. I swear it's one of the best values of a Cabernet I've ever had. And it's called Genesio from that same winery.
Really? Now, see, I haven't. That's not one that I've had. Were you staying at? Does he operate an agriturismo by any chance?
Not really. He just, it's funny. He built this wonder. He restored a farmhouse in Tuscany, and it's this wonder. I mean, you could literally eat off the floor. This place is so magnificently clean, and literally, you're looking across at Ferragamo's property, and across, and he's right on the border. So I think the grapes and everything are so close to what's over in Montalcino. But this again, the very first year, I thought this Cabernet was unbelievable. It was great. It just was so good. So if you ever get a chance, I'd love to know your opinion.
No, I would. And you know something? Is this, so you're saying it's bordering on the Ferragamo property?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I mean that Castigliano del Bosco and Il Boro properties, operated by Massimo Ferragamo, Salvatore Ferragamo, the grandson of the founder of Ferragamo, the designer line.
We actually have your picture with Ferragamo.
Purses. They have 1,500 acres in Montalcino, and at least 1,200 of it was turned into one of the most incredible private resorts and spas in all of Italy. And then the rest of it was put into the 2 wineries and vineyards. So obviously, because of our love for the Italian Brunellos, Salvatore Ferragamo has been to the restaurant 3 times over the last 6 years to do winemaker dinners with us.
Oh,
and
wow.
we've been honored to have him here.
Steve?
And he's a very, very wonderful person.
Steve, let me cut in here for a second. I was looking on your Facebook page, and I saw those pictures, and I grabbed them. Now, Ronnie, if you can roll, I think they're kind of toward the end. I don't know how Station renumbered those
that's
pictures.
Justin right there. You just had a picture of me with Justin Baldwin, the owner of Justin Winery.
Right, but if you scroll through quick, keep going, Ronnie. I'll tell you when to stop. I saw his picture with Salvatore Ferragamo. Keep going. No, keep going. I think it's coming up here, Ronnie. Keep right. Keep going. I think. Go back, Ronnie. Go back, Ronnie. Go back.
Yeah, it's a really good-looking Italian.
That one. No, I think this is it. No, the four of them. Check it out. Is this it?
I'm waiting.
Yeah, I know we have a delay here.
Oh, I know.
But
there I am. Okay, yeah. The second gentleman on the left, to my left, is Salvatore Ferragamo, and then the 2 gentlemen to his left were the East Coast importers through Boston that bring the wine into the country. So yeah, that was Salvatore and myself, and that was quite a few years ago that we had. That was one of his first visits to Antonello's. So yeah, he's been back since then at least 4 more times, and we've had 4 events altogether. And if you can see right behind me on the floor, those are Ferragamo gift bags. We put together gift bags for everybody in attendance with some little goodies from Ferragamo's store over at South Coast Plaza, as well as some of our gourmet pasta sauces and as well as some of our specialty wines. So that was quite a parting gift that night.
Like I said, you really know how to work that general manager position.
You know, I actually had the pleasure of being at Castello di Liliano in the classical district of Chianti on one of my buying trips, and I was actually hosted by the owner, who was a prince. And when I was sitting in his formal dining room with an open hearth, fireplace, with all of his big game, he's a big game hunter, so all these mounted animals that he had gone after, his white glove butlers on each corner of a table that must have sat 35 to 40, and there was 5 of us at one end having lunch together. And to be part of a nobility dinner like that with a prince who was just as nice a person as you'd ever want, and his castle was built in 1000. So
Wow.
I mean, think about
1,000 years old.
how long ago these properties were. Of course, they weren't originally wineries; they were castles. If you go to San Gimignano, the town of 100 towers, you're actually up on top of the biggest tower, because the higher up you were, the better chance you weren't going to get attacked. So these places in the Classico district of Chianti and in Montalcino and particularly in San Gimignano are places that are fabled estates that I've stayed at, and these places date back well over 1,000 years ago that they were built.
Well, let me ask you.
They don't make them like they used to.
No. Let me ask
No,
you
they
this, Paul.
don't. Boy, I'll tell you, these days they just throw the castles together like nothing else. But I tell you, those places were built like a rock, and they'll last forever.
Yeah.
Paul, do your travels ever take you to Los Angeles?
Yeah. In fact, we were there recently. I was just saying, I'd love to go.
That's
Where's
what
he
I'm
located?
Yeah.
In Orange County, right across
Oh, yeah.
from South Coast Plaza.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to go
Down
visit.
there in Anaheim. So I was
Your
going to say, Steve, when Paul comes to L.A., you know, we got to make sure that he and Judy, if he comes with his wife,
Oh yeah, we will come out.
get
and
into
what
your
I'll
restaurant.
do. No, what I'll do is I will bring him a Geneseo if he hasn't tried one by then. From
No, I
Casale
know. I
di
can't
Bibbiano.
wait, and I
Yeah.
hope and you come down and try some of our food. And you know, I would love any of the listeners out there that are watching this great show, which and I do mean, and that's there's one of the Deleuze family members. That's one of the ZD wineries, 3rd generation we've had at Antonello's. We actually did a dinner with Mama Deleuze, and then we did it with her son. And then we did a dinner with her son's daughter. So we've actually done 3 generations of ZD Winery at Antonello's for a wine dinner. And I can't help but looking at that picture and remembering that's Jill. That's the 3rd generation directly involved. They're located on the Silverado Trail in Napa Valley. But Paul, anyway, back to the coming into South Coast Plaza Metro. I mean, we're right off the 405 freeway. For anybody out there listening, first of all, you see my name, Steve Ebal, and it's actually Antonello Ristorante with an O on the end, not an A, but that's great. You're flattering me to death with all these great pictures. But, you know, friend me on Facebook, any of you that are out there. I'm the one holding that giant bottle you saw. And if you want a lesson in Italian wine, I mean, I will happily Facebook private message you. I'll email you Italian Wine 101 to anybody that's listening out there.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
I know Larry has a big following. I have so much to share with you folks about Italian wine. I'm not going to go into any more detail except that when you get to a wine shop and you stare at the French label or the Italian label, what's wrong with this picture? It's not by grape, it's by region. So people freeze like deer in the headlights. And if you want to Facebook me, I'll join up with friends with anybody that wants to listen to me right now, and I'll dispel all of the scariness of reading the Italian, particularly the Italian label, because of the regional. You know, there's a way to demystify Italian wine labels based on region the same way there is to just demystify the French label. People, when they have those funny white burgundies with these scary names, Puligny Montrachet, Coton Charlemagne, they don't realize every one of those is a Chardonnay, and they don't realize that. They're scared of the label. When they drink a burgundy with a long, mysterious name, all they're drinking is Pinot Noir. I mean, there's a way to demystify the whole regional names versus grape varieties, and I would be happy, and I mean that. Stevie Ball on Facebook, there's the owner and president and winemaker of Kane Cellars, Christopher Howell that you're looking at right there. That's another great winery that makes a wine called Kane 5, which uses all 5 of the Bordeaux varietals up on the top of Spring Mountain at the 2,300-foot elevation. Cabernet Merlot, Cabernet Franc, Petit Verdot, and Malbec. He started running the show at that winery when I started running the show at Antonello's 22 years ago. We both started in 1990, and we've had a friendship for 22 years now, and it will never go away because they're just a great winery up on top of the mountain. So, yeah, I would love to spend time with you guys, and Paul, you guys all know my connection. I'm a watch nut with Larry. I mean, I'm a Sterling original nut. I'm wearing my tourbillon right now as we're speaking.
Cool.
And I have to get that plug in for my Imperial Dynasty tourbillon. But it's about watches. It's about wine. It's about love. It's about sharing it with your friends. And it's not scary.
No.
You don't have to be fearful. And if someone teaches you properly, wine can be fun. It doesn't have to be snobby. And that's my goal in life, is just to convey that to my guests for the last 23 years, actually in California. And in the last 35 years that I've been in the business since '77.
Well, sounds good, Steve.
I love it. I feel like I know you.
Do
I really do.
now, he's mentioning all these Italian wine. Do you know all these wineries he's talking about? And these?
The wineries, not always, not all of them. No.
Does your wine bar sell Italian wines?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, let me tell you, I'm going to ask you one little thing. My pager just went off. I'm upstairs enjoying this whole presentation and thanking Larry for these great shots, and for both of you, all the guests that are sitting listening to me babble on. But I think they need me downstairs, and I will just sign off and just say that it was an honest-to-God pleasure to be able to get on the air. I've been on with Larry before. We've been Facebook friends, everything. And I'm truly honored to be given this much time to spend sharing wine and you sharing some of these great pictures and memories that I've had of 35 years in the business. And all I can say is thank you all. And there's my name. Look me up, Facebook me, and I'll show you lessons on wine that you won't believe how easy wine can be if it's taught to you by the right teacher.
Awesome.
Thanks, Steve.
What did they
Thanks.
say, Larry? Listen to the right voices, and you'll make the right choices.
Right,
Well, you
that's
can
what my
do it
father
with
used
great
to tell
watches,
me.
and I'll do it with great wine.
Absolutely, Steve. Thank you. Much
Thanks.
love to you.
All right, peace
Thanks.
to you all, and thanks so much for sharing so much time with me, okay?
Okay, peace, Steve.
All right, take care.
Take care.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, bye-bye.
Now we have yet another journey to take.
Yes.
And I wanted to say something too.
Yeah.
And I feel like I know Stephen. This is the first time I've ever spoken to
Okay.
him. I want everybody who lives near him to do this one thing, because even though I said if I love a wine, I love it with any food. But you go to somebody like Steve, because I've met people like this in the business before. You go to him and you say, listen, here's my budget. I'm going to come to dinner. I'm bringing a couple of people. I want you to take me on a journey and match the wines with the courses. And you're going to have the best experience you've ever had in your life. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You can
the
tell
way
he
to do
takes
it.
a lot of pride in
Yeah.
his
Right.
position. I'm joking around, you milk the position and all that.
Yeah.
But he takes pride
No doubt.
in what he does for that restaurant.
I did that one time, and I will tell you, it was probably one of the most, for me, because we went crazy. It was one of the most amazing meal experiences of my entire life, and I'll never forget it to this day. We had different, wines with different It was absolutely amazing. You have somebody like Steve do that for you, you're gonna say this was one of the greatest nights of your life.
So when you go to LA, we got to make sure
Yeah.
that you and
Oh,
Judy get
absolutely.
over
Orange
down to
County,
Orange
yeah.
County. Yeah, it's right off the 405. Ronnie, I think we should take a quick break and we'll strategize what we're going to do when we come back as far as, which wine we're going to hit next. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Chill with Larry Megan.
ZuluTimeZone.com is the first and only authorized dealer for Offshore Limited in the United States. ZuluTimeZone.com is proud to support Chillin' with Larry Magen and Acorn TV. Use the discount coupon code DAD to receive an additional $20 off per item. ZuluTimeZone.com digs Chillin' with Larry Magen.
Chill with Larry Magen.
Welcome back to Chillin' with Larry Magen. Tonight we are truly chillin' with doing some wine tasting here with Paul Deasy, my sister Susie, who these are both
I'm so excited.
wine freaks. But we're having
Hey,
a
that's
blast.
such an ugly term, really.
No, I don't know. I've had too much. I've tasted 2 wines and I'm already feeling loopy.
Right.
Really.
You're not used to. Okay, so
Cheers.
what we're
You know who used to say loopy on the air all the time?
Yeah.
Libby.
Yeah.
Remember?
okay. Well, but first
It's
off,
just
before
loopy. Go ahead.
so this, well, now I'm really excited. I was excited. Well, this is again from Washington. We're back in Washington State. This is from Mackey Vineyards in Walla Walla, but they are Columbia Valley grapes. They're not specifically from Walla Walla. This is Concordia. This is a GSM, Grenache Syrah Mourvedre. Again, all the grapes are grown in Washington, but this is based on a Southern Rhone style, and just the nose on it.
Yeah, it smells
is
amazing.
fantastic.
Can you tell everyone, when you say Rhone or when you're talking,
Yeah.
people forget that vineyards, sometimes the vines were brought from the old world to the new world too, right?
Yes. Now,
Yeah.
but can I talk intelligently about that? I don't know if these were brought from.
Maybe not. Yeah.
Right.
They could be.
I
But
do know. Oh, thank you. I do know that Washington State, I believe it was in the late 1990s, it might have been in the early 2000s. Washington is really well known, or what they do really well are Cab and Merlot, and now Syrah. Syrah since I think 2001, but it might have started being planted in the 1990s. Forgive me if I don't have my dates correct, because somebody realized that Washington has the terroir, has the soil and the climate to grow great Syrah. And I happen to think, I love Washington Syrahs. I drink Côte de Rhônes a lot at home, which Côte de Rhônes are Syrah and Grenache, Mourvedre. They can be single varietal or they can be blends, but
Now, when
mostly
you're talking about Syrah, again, is that a name of a grape?
name of a grape. And we will be drinking later on a Shiraz. We have 2 Shirazes from Australia. Shiraz and Syrah are the same grape. It's just where they're grown, how you pronounce it.
Yeah, that's so funny, and it's true.
Syrah, yeah. So
Well, you recommended we pick up a Syrah.
Shiraz.
No, Shiraz. I say Shiraz.
Yeah. So, but this is Grenache dominant. Wasn't this a Grenache
Yes,
dominant?
yes.
Yeah, 77%, 70 something,
yeah.
and then Syrah. And what I love about I love Grenache. Grenache is really earthy. Syrah.
Earthy, smoky. This is wonderful.
This is
I love this.
you know what? Okay, so what Washington Syrahs are smoky, bacon fat tar, dark berries. The Grenache is earthy and red fruit more, and the Mourvedre just adds heavy, I think, weight and pepper notes to me, and that's just my own personal opinion. I haven't even tasted it yet, and I love this.
May I ask
Whose
you?
suggestion was this one, Paul?
This is hers. This is
I
hers.
brought this from my shop in Seattle when I came up, so I thought we've got to drink this.
I have to ask you. So if I look for this, now of course it depends on where you live. I know that I'm in Florida.
Hard to find.
Hard to find. And then what kind of price are we talking about for something like this?
Well, first off, it's a lot of Washington wineries are very small yields, so they are spendy. They're also, because they make such small amounts, relatively speaking, as opposed to BV or some other wines that we'll be drinking, they're going to be harder to find in Florida, certainly in Minnesota. Mackey is one of those. This is Mackey Cellars or Mackey Vineyards. So in Washington State, you wouldn't find this in the supermarket, but you would find this in a nice wine
So
shop.
how much would a bottle?
I think this is going to go around $35, anywhere 25 to 35, up to 40.
I'm telling you, it tastes like more than that to me.
Yeah,
Honestly.
it's really nice. And what's interesting, one of the things I like about this is that the winemaker for this is actually, he owns Rosso Vineyards next door to Mackey, and he is an East Indian Rosso is their last name. They're two brothers that they have their own winery, and they went and helped make this, and they are incredible. They're physicists, so it's all science to them. I mean, there's a lot of chemistry in winemaking, particularly in good winemaking, and I think that's what this reflects. But I just think it's wonderful. No. So it's Mackey, Concordia, and I love it.
This is terrific.
Yes. Now, okay, so because when we say this is terrific, this is good, but can we use some descriptives so the people out there kind of...
Well, from just us talking before we got on here, I like things that are a little bit more down and dirty.
Right. This is.
So I love the full body. I love that it can stand up to anything that I want to eat. Mm-hmm. And I told you, I tasted a little bit of the smoky in this.
Yeah. You know what?
And the fruit.
You could have good barbecued ribs. You could have a good steak with it, but I think this calls for stewed meats or barbecue, and this would be great with barbecue.
This is awesome.
This is delicious, and the more it gets really smoky. So if you would have this with some of the copa meats, which we have here.
I would love to find this where I live, and you say maybe not so much.
Maybe not so much.
But I'm going to take a picture with my phone
and
see
go
if
on
I
their
can.
website.
Oh, do they sell direct?
I'm sure every vineyard, every winery.
Okay. I know sometimes it's tough, depending on where you live, to get somebody that will sell you direct, because it depends on, there are different rules in different states in the United States for that. But
absolutely.
I would love.
Do you get wine shipped to you?
Yeah.
I know we cannot ship direct. We're in Washington State because we're a retailer. But wineries can ship direct.
Well, and it's funny, things have changed a little bit in Florida. And I know initially when I went to some of the wineries in California, they wouldn't ship to a home, but they'd ship to a business.
Oh.
So there are some really weird things there. But now I get wine shipped all the time. In fact, the BV that we're going to try, the Tapestry Reserve.
Will they ship a single bottle, or you have to order a case?
Well, they would, but that makes no sense to me.
You gotta order a case.
Well, no, you can order 3 bottles or 6
Yeah.
bottles. And if it's a winery that has several offerings, get them mixed.
Yes. But a lot of them, if you buy a certain number, you'll get the free shipping and all that. But I'll tell you, it's, to me, if you find one that you really like, you don't want to be without it. It's like having an empty refrigerator. You want to have something you like. And I think the point of all of this, and when we talk to Steve and you guys, you will tie these experiences of where you tried that wine for the first time. And you will find a wine that you'll say, I've tried it. In fact, I have a story about BV. I'm going to tell you about that. But it becomes a part of life. I mean, grabbing the marrow of life and enjoying it. And it will become your favorite. And sometimes, and this is funny too, like my wife Judy and I have 2 different palates. And I like different things than she likes. So that's okay, but then there's always that 1 or 2 that you find that you both love.
Right,
That's nice. And you can agree upon. Yeah.
Right. Otherwise, you've got 2 bottles opened. But you also...
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with it, but it's nice to be able to share.
Yes, it is.
I think that's really nice, yeah. So, Larry, you drank that rather quickly. I'm a little nervous for you.
Well, I mean...
He has such a long drive home.
I'll tell you,
but he's not... You're not used to drinking.
I'm not used to drinking.
He's not used to it.
I'm listening to you 2 talk, and it's a little bit mesmerizing because, honestly... I don't smell the bacon fat. I don't smell all these things that you're smelling. I can't really taste the difference.
But you will.
But you know what? I didn't in the beginning either. They
all taste great to me.
I remember my first time I took a wine course at Northwest Wine Academy in Seattle Central College. And we had to go around the room and describe what we're smelling. And the teacher said, there's no wrong answer.
Yeah.
It's totally objective. Mm-hmm. What's right?
Subjective.
Thank you. And I was reluctant to say everyone's smelling one thing. It's like, I don't smell it, or what I do, But the more you taste, it's like a muscle you never use. You have to exercise it. That's why you should drink a lot, because you need to exercise the muscle.
And it keeps her in business. No,
Yes.
actually, what Susan's talking about is a really important point I think I want to make, because the first time that happens, you'll find something that's so predominant that it's so obvious you can't not notice. And then all of a sudden, maybe certain other things. Do you feel?
Yeah.
See, and in fact, when I was talking to Steve about the Cabernet I loved from Italy that was called Genesio, and the first time I brought it up to my nose, I said, "Oh my gosh, I smell vanilla."
Yeah.
And they said, well, that's the oak. That's the French oak.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can smell it as plain as day.
Right.
And then you start to see some of the other subtleties coming out that start to compete with that. But it's amazing. And Larry, it'll happen.
And then,
it's,
don't you find, okay, because you're like, wow, I smell vanilla. Now, if there's any kind of French oak present in a wine, now you're picking it out.
All the time.
Because you've toned that muscle, so to speak, to pick that out. So it's practice. It's practice.
Lots of practice.
Lots of practice.
Okay, cool.
It's practice that is
enjoyable.
A labor of love.
Yes.
And let me ask you, Paul, do you have a nice place where you store your wines at home?
Oh, yeah. I think that's essential, too. Oh, it's fun. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
Because one of the things, and besides the storing, and we do have a wine refrigerator, when we sold our house in Tampa, we had a little wine room. That was tough for my wife, Judy, to give up, believe me. Now we're on the beach, we had a little less room, in the intercoastal waterway. So we bought a wine refrigerator. They're not that expensive, and you can get 2 different zones, so you have a temperature for your whites and temperature for your reds. But I want to talk to you about this, and for everybody out there listening, because one of my pet peeves, even when I go into some finer restaurants, the reds, they're serving at the wrong temperature, and I've gotten into more playful arguments with servers when I say, do you have your wine? Well, no, it's at room temperature. It's supposed to be.
Right. But if you're in a 80 degree, some restaurants, if they aren't air conditioned enough, 80 degrees is not the proper temperature. It depends what your room temperature is.
But my feeling is,
it should be cooler.
It should be cooler. In fact, what I tell everybody is, yes, room temperature, you forget, for most of the world was in the cellar, which was like a constant 58, 55 degrees.
I'm thinking, between that and 60, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah,
no, so by the time you open it and uncork it and drink it, you're at 62, you're at 63, and it's perfect. Now, one of the things that I found, because when I first met Judy and we were going out, we were enjoying some wines, she was the room temperature girl until I started talking about those things. Now she can't drink it at room temperature. So what's your opinion on that?
Well, and again, I wish I have a terrible memory, but there is a set standard for which red wine should be served, and I think it's like 58 to 62, but I could be wrong. I think it might be a little, but it's certainly not hotter.
No, and I think,
the same token, also wines, particularly, you like your Shiraz, you like the big cabs, and they're getting higher and higher in alcohol content. I like wines 13.5, and now they're getting 14%, 15%, 16%, and they are so hot. If I wanted something that high, I'd drink vodka, that high vibe. So I think that's another reason to cool it down a little bit because of the high alcohol content. And I don't mean chill it, but to cool it down. At the same, or conversely speaking, nothing is worse than getting a beautiful white Burgundy, which is a Chardonnay, or a wonderful Sonoma or Napa Chardonnay, and they're big and oaky and buttery, and they come to the table and they're so cold. We have that problem in my wine shop because our refrigeration is so cold, so you need to pull it out. You need to let it, the bigger the wine, white wine, the more it needs to open up to really express itself, because when it's too cold, it's so tight. So it needs to.
So how does this relate to storing it?
Well, go ahead.
Well, I don't think you can store wine too cold, sans freezing it, but wine needs to be.
Yeah.
It likes the cold. It likes. Wine likes 55 degrees.
Yeah, and it's
it likes dry.
A great place, great way to store that. But I will say this, for those of you that, especially
not too dry,
if this is a new transition for you and you're thinking, wait a minute, now I like it warm room temperature. If you're going to try this, understand that even when I pull something out of my wine refrigerator, and my reds are probably at 58 when I take them out, I still let them open up a little bit and warm up a little bit before I have my first taste.
Right.
So at 55, if you tried to, or 58, if you tried to drink it right then, as you said, you're not going to taste as much.
It's really tight.
But
tight.
If it gets to 70 or 80, I'm thinking, you know what I mean? So, but listen, wine is always about personal preference. Your favorite is not going to be Susan's or mine or Larry's.
Right. Drink it what you
So
enjoy.
when you store it at home, you have just a refrigerator. You don't
A wine
have
refrigerator.
You don't have a separate room.
Well, what I have, there's 2 different types of, there's a million types of wine refrigerators you can get. But when I was looking at them, you could get one that actually had 2 separate temperature controls. One would be for your whites and one would be for your reds. Now, those are a little pricier. What I got was one that had, I could store, I think, 100 and some bottles.
Oh, that's a nice size.
Yeah, it's good. I love it. But we have, on the bottom is cooler naturally because that's where the refrigeration is, and it gets progressively warmer towards the top. So I have all my reds in the top half, all my whites in the bottom half. Now the whites, since I got a single temperature, I think the lowest temperature on it's 47 on that. So my wife will still take her whites, put one or two in our regular refrigerator.
Right, when you're ready to drink it.
When you're ready to drink it. And whereas my reds are coming out perfect every time.
Nice.
Nice. And you keep that in the kitchen, or is that in?
No, it's actually we've moved. We've kind of downsized because the kids are in college, and we sold our place in Tampa. We live on the Intercoastal Waterway in a place called Madeira Beach in Florida, and our wine refrigerator sits. Basically, we have all this glass facing the water, so we have this wonderful chance to look at the water and watch a dolphin swimming in our backyard. And our wine refrigerator is right there before you can either walk out onto the porch and watch that way or drink inside, and it's
Nice.
easy access.
So you entertain a lot.
We do. Yeah, we
That's
enjoy
cool.
it. Yeah.
And just out of curiosity, at any one time, approximately how many bottles do you have on? You have like 500 bottles at all times?
No. Because I like to store it, I will have that stocked, and as I say, maybe 125 to 150 bottles.
Usually in stock.
And then it will come down until when I see it's getting low, I make another run.
Cool.
Or I order them
Nice.
online. Yeah.
Very, very nice. Okay, I want to invite people to call in. We want to get a few calls here about wine. Tell us your favorite wines, any questions you may have. And Susie, what are we going to be sampling next? We just had the
Next.
Mackey.
Now we are going to, so we've been doing Southern Rhone varietals. Now we're going to visit Bordeaux, New World Bordeaux. So we are going to be drinking a Washington wine that Paul brought, which I love this winery, Northstar Merlot.
Okay, now as you're getting that ready,
Okay.
as I said, we're going to have a very abbreviated classic film zone tonight.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I couldn't miss this opportunity, Paul, because as I said, my sister
got you into it.
got me into it and everything, and I picked a very easy one to do. Okay, so while you're pouring that, Ronnie, let's go to the classic film zone. We're sitting here and we're sipping on some wine and crackers and cheese and meats, and I'm getting a little bit sloshed here, but I'm with my sister, my good friend Paul Deasy. They're educating me on wines, and I said that tonight we're going to have somewhat of an abbreviated classic film zone. I thought it was important, even though we didn't really need it tonight. We could fill up all this time. We got probably another 8 bottles to go. But I couldn't miss this opportunity. My sister never visited me here in Minneapolis before, and she is the one responsible for my affection for classic movies. So, Susie, I picked an easy one to talk about.
Okay.
Since we weren't going to get deep into any one movie.
Okay.
Singin' in the Rain.
Which is, so I didn't know until we sat down and you did that. And I love that film. as you
Yeah,
know.
and everybody does, and it's an easy one to
It's an
get
easy
into.
one.
It's an all-timer, if it's not the number one all-time, and it's in everybody's top 5 at least. Of course, Gene Kelly and Debbie Reynolds, Donald O'Connor, love all of them. 1951, was it 52?
I
51.
thought it was 51.
1951, Singin' in the Rain, and this is a movie that takes place back right at the point around 1927 when the talkies, or when the silent movies were transitioning into the talkies. And it's a movie that, of course, is produced by MGM and the great Arthur Freed unit. And Freed, I think at that time, wanted to produce a movie that he could look back on that would have all of his songs that he's written over the years in one movie. And of course, he first wrote Singin' in the Rain for a musical, I think in 1929 or 1930. And he gave his list of songs to his writers. Was it Betty Comden and Adolph
Green.
Adolph Green, that's right.
Comden.
And he said, I want you to write a movie with all my songs in it. And Singin' in the Rain was one of them. And they said they were going to get Gene Kelly. And the writers said, well, we didn't know where to go, what we were going to do with this, how to make a script with all these songs. All we knew is we were going to have Gene Kelly, and it was going to be raining, and he was going to be singing. And because it was Singing in the Rain. And they decided, and they made this idea of the time of when the talkies were being, the silence transitioning into the talkies, and they incorporated all these songs, and it came out just spectacular. You would never know that it was written in that manner, reversed to the songs, because the songs fit so well into the script. And of course, it was a big winner in the Academy Awards and everything. And of course, at the time, Susie, it probably wasn't appreciated as much as it is today. I don't think it was the big smash that they thought it was right away in 1951. It was only a few years later that it really came into popularity.
Didn't it win Best Picture?
It won Best Picture, but it didn't get the acclaim that it has now. Nobody really thought it was going to be regarded as the greatest musical of all time. And of course, musical is kind of an acquired taste, just like wines are an acquired taste.
Absolutely.
So we're not going to show all of the numbers. I have most of them, in the queue, Susie.
Yeah.
So if I were to ask you to name one song that you'd want to see from that film, what would you name?
Well, what I like and what I love, the one between Donald O'Connor and Gene Kelly.
Moses Supposes.
Yeah, Moses Supposes.
Yeah.
But I think everyone wants to see Good Morning or Singing in the Rain.
Those are your three number one choices for sure.
Yeah.
Do you know the film at all?
I do, but I think I'm going to defer to Susie just because she came all the way out here. Mm-hmm. If she wants to see that clip, that's when she should get.
But I just wanted to ask you one thing. You know the Donald O'Connor Make 'Em Laugh?
Yes.
And you know the song that Judy Garland sings, Be a Clown?
Mm-hmm.
What movie came first? Because I have
The Pirate.
The Pirate. So actually, and I might be, again, getting this wrong, but Make 'Em Laugh, or Be a Clown, not Be a Clown, Make 'Em Laugh, was actually written for Singing in the Rain. And when do you know the story? The
I
quote?
do know the story.
They were saying, this is a great song, and they'll remember this song. It's like, I remember it already.
The story goes something like this. They needed a solo performance song for Donald O'Connor. They didn't have one. Mm. And they liked the song Be a Clown from The Pirate, which was a tremendous bomb, by the way. It really never...
The movie was a bomb, not the song, but yeah.
The movie was a bomb. It was Gene Kelly and Judy Garland. It was directed by Vincent Minnelli, and they were all convinced it was going to be a major hit, but it was just over the top. It was just too much. But in that movie, there was this great number called Be a Clown where Gene Kelly actually danced with professional acrobats. He did his own. Gene Kelly was very athletic. Yeah. And it was this very athletic song called Be a Clown. They were all dressed up in clown suits. And Arthur Freed had said, I want a song like that for Donald O'Connor. And they took pretty much the same tune. It's the exact same tune. And they wrote, Make 'Em Laugh instead of Be a Clown. And they copied that. That was the only song that was actually written for the movie Singing in the Rain. All the other songs were previously written songs from other musicals that Arthur Freed had produced. So I don't know if we have that one. Ronnie, do we have Make 'Em Laugh in the queue?
We do.
We do?
But then what was it that was it Louis B. Mayer that said, he goes, do you love that? The people are going to remember this song? He goes, I remember it already.
Yeah.
That was really funny. Okay.
Well, you picked one of the songs that I would have picked anyway, because it's one of my favorite songs, and one of my favorite numbers of all time is Moses Supposes. And the setup on it is like this.
That.
And by the way, I think we should take a sip.
Okay.
It's time for what are we sipping?
Listen, I will describe it after the clip, but it's one of my favorites in the Merlot from Washington State. We'll talk about that in a minute.
We should take a sip before the clip.
Yeah.
Though.
What does it smell like? It smells divine.
Right.
I mean,
can you hold the bottle up, Susie, for them?
Sure.
Okay. What is
it? You know what?
Paul brought this.
The words that come to my mind are just smooth. Do you know what I mean?
You talk about, don't you get cocoa?
Oh, yeah.
There's that cocoa, that chocolate note.
Totally.
Smell that.
This one is drier than that last one.
Yes, smell it and think about what hot cocoa smells like.
Northstar Merlot. Mm-hmm. And is this from another Washington? Mm-hmm.
This is.
Yeah.
Okay. The setup on this clip. Okay. As I said, the silent films were transitioning to talkies, and what really happened in real life was a lot of the silent film stars, they were into all just the show and this kind of thing. but when they had to talk on camera or on film, they couldn't do it. So they had to take speech lessons, diction lessons. Some of them no longer could stay in the movies because they couldn't talk well.
Or they had foreign accents. There were a lot of Europeans.
Right, and so a lot of the actors were taking diction classes. This was very popular at that change in 1927 to 28. And so this number, Moses Supposes, is you have Gene Kelly, who is a silent film star, trying to transition into the talkies, and he's taking a diction class from a guy who's doing, tongue twisters and everything. He could handle the speaking, but he wasn't much of an actor. And his counterpart, the woman, played by Jean Hagen, what's her name in the movie? Lena Lamont.
Yes.
Lena Lamont, she talks like a real truck driver, Brooklyn accent kind of a thing. She couldn't do it. But anyway, here they are taking their diction classes, and Donald O'Connor is his partner and buddy, who's the musical director. He's not on camera, but he comes walking in to the diction class that Gene Kelly is taking, and his part is Lena Lamont and
Cosmo.
Cosmo is Donald O'Connor, but Gene Kelly is...
Oh, Gene Kelly is Locklear.
Lockwood, Don Lockwood.
Don Lockwood.
He plays the silent film star Don Lockwood.
But I just want to say, love Gene Kelly, love Gene Kelly, but Donald O'Connor is fantastic.
Well, Donald O'Connor, of course, was picked for this spot because of his ability to dance. He was known as a hoofer. And he said later in his interviews that he actually modified his style just a little bit to accommodate Gene Kelly, because Gene Kelly was known for dancing a little closer to the ground, whereas Donald O'Connor was more of an upright dancer, more like a Fred Astaire. But he kind of, modified his style a little bit to go along with Gene Kelly, and the two of them are just incredible.
Yeah. So
let's take a look.
See that.
Moses Supposes. Straight, I'm not. It's even better when you got a little wine buzz going,
Yeah.
Now, again, what we're drinking is a Merlot, right?
And this is 100% Merlot.
Is it 100%? Yeah, I think
Now,
you're right.
Paul, was this your selection?
This
It
is
is.
mine.
And this is a Washington wine. And when he brought this in, when you showed me what he was going to bring in, I was so excited because I've had Northstar Merlot, and it's one of my favorites.
Well, with me, there's always a story. And so I was not familiar much with Washington wines. I certainly had a lot of reds. I loved the Italians. I had Judy and I went to Sonoma, so had my favorites there. We had friends of ours that went on a wine tasting in Washington State. And we did not have a chance to go on that one, but we went to their house, and I tasted Washington after Washington, and I'm like, this is fantastic. And then my wife and I and the Northstar was one of my favorites, no doubt about it, hands down. The Merlot is so good. And so I was telling Susan, I said, we play a little game sometimes, and I don't care if we're in Vegas or anywhere else. The first thing I'll do is I'll grab the wine menu, and I'm looking for something from Washington State I've never tried before. And I've never been disappointed. I don't care what it is, which grape it was, but we picked that out. And I mean, and that's, by the way, you can find some great values from Washington State, like the Columbia Crest we talked about.
Right.
You can find some great values that you can be proud to open up at any party, and it's awesome. So this is my kind of best kept secret gifts, but this one's a little bit pricier, but it's still a very good wine.
Right.
Yeah.
And actually, though, but for the same price, well, you know what if this was a Napa Merlot?
Oh, yeah, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're twice, 3 times the price.
Yeah.
That's why I said that.
And this is good.
Yeah, my little game is that I'll find something that's less than most of the Sonoma and the Napa wines that might be on the menu. It's still a wonderful, wonderful wine, and you don't pay as much.
Yeah.
You're right, no comparison.
No.
Well, Susie brought a movie for us to watch. We watched it last night on the big screen here. Bottle Shock. Have you seen this movie?
I haven't seen that one.
You have to see it.
No, I have to see that.
I mean,
You
I loved
have
it.
to.
It was made in, 2005?
Yeah, I don't have it right here. No, I think it was 2007 or 2008.
Was it a documentary?
No, but
no.
it's based on a true story.
It's based on a true story.
And it is about the 1976 wine tasting in Paris, comparing Napa Valley Chardonnays and Napa Valley Cabs to French. And it was blind tasting, and the
All
Chateau
the sommeliers were there,
Yeah, it's the Chateau Montelena, 1973. won first place. And the Stag's Leap, believe it was 73, but I could be wrong. The Stag's Leap cab blew the Bordeaux. It won first place. And it really put, I think, Napa Valley. It made the world wake up. It certainly made the French wake up that what is happening in Napa Valley.
But also, it did put California on the map for sure from watching this movie. But the irony of it was, and again, it's based on a true story, and I love this movie, was that it was the whole contest, the whole tasting contest was the brainchild of a shop owner who had a wine shop, and his business was dying. And he came up with this promotional idea as a promotion to promote his shop, okay, to have a wine tasting from the California wines against the French. And he had all these French sommeliers there and everything. And what shocked the world is in a blind taste test, the California wine won. And of course they were all shocked. They were trying to pick a French wine.
That doesn't go well over there.
He became a pariah.
Yeah.
So he did it to promote his own business, and he ended up becoming a pariah in France because even these judges were shocked. They couldn't believe that they picked a California wine.
It's so funny you say that. I had a chance, having worked in the shopping channel business for so long, I worked with David Burke, a famous chef.
Yeah.
He was the last, or the only, American ever to win France's highest cooking honor.
Ooh.
But there was such an uproar.
Yes.
He even told me, he said, that'll never happen again.
Right.
That'll never happen again. So yeah, but it's amazing, and there's so many great wines out there, and it's up to you to try each and every one.
And you know what? And there's so many, and I still kind of feel like I have my moods, but I do love my old world style wines, and so I've been drinking I drink a lot of French wines, I drink a lot of Spanish, I love Spanish wines, and we don't have a Spanish wine here tonight, but
Argentinians.
I like Argentina. I love Argentina. I like Argentinian wines. They're fabulous, but with Australia, I mean the New World wines, which are the Americas. And Australia and South Africa, which I'm still a little. I'm the last one on the boat on that one. I'm not a fan, but they're doing well. I mean, and well, there's just so
there's
much.
The whole,
but you know what? Here we
are,
in Minnesota.
World out there.
All right, so now we're gonna. I guess we'll try another one, but I'm gonna set up another clip.
Okay.
It's kind of fun. We take a sip and we watch a clip.
Sip and a clip. It's a new segment.
A new segment, a sip and a clip.
Sip and a clip.
But did we talk enough about Northstar?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Honestly, know that this is a great wine.
Okay.
But experiment with Washington State, because I promise you're not going to be disappointed.
And where a lot of people out there may not know about Northstar, but
that's right.
Chateau Saint Michel, which is our biggest winery in Washington State. Actually, Northstar is a division now of Chateau. And as we say in Washington, all roads lead to Chateau Saint Michel. Because
Chateau Saint Michel?
Chateau Saint Michel. I have a hard time saying that. A lot of winemakers that have started their own wineries have branched off, and when you follow their history, their lineage, they've all at one time or another spent their tutorage or their, is that the right?
Tutelage.
Thank you. At CSM.
Okay, Chateau Saint Michel.
I can't do the
Chateau
CH.
Saint Michel.
Chateau Saint Michel.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
so sip and a clip.
Sip and a clip.
Sip and a clip. There's a new thing. Sip and a clip.
Well, we have to make a little entry for it. You know, I mean, a little segment intro for it. You know. Okay, so we just saw, Moses Supposes with addiction lessons. Of course, that was Jean Hagen at the beginning.
Yes.
And she was Lena Lamont. She was the one that couldn't make the transition.
Right.
It was
and
rather,
by the way,
rather hysterical.
isn't she great in the film? I love her.
I love Jean Hagen. She's incredible in that
incredible.
film. She steals the show in some ways, but
I think so too.
Pretty hard to do. But anyway, you saw the incredible dancing of Gene Kelly and Donald O'Connor. They're two of the great film dancers of all time. And the leading lady in this movie is Debbie Reynolds. And at that time, I think Debbie Reynolds was maybe 18 years old.
No.
Yes.
No.
What do you say? You don't tell me she was older than that.
Well, let's see. It was filmed in 1950. I think it was
filmed in 50, released in 51.
But it was just 51. So do the math for me.
Okay.
What year was she born? I thought she was born in 1932.
So she's 18.
42.
That's what I said.
Oh my God! I thought she. Okay, you're right.
She's-
You're right. Okay.
She
so-
needs to respect her elders.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So the thing is, okay,
That's
so go
okay.
ahead. You're right.
It never has. I don't
Yes,
care.
and she was not really a trained dancer.
No, she was not. She was Little Miss Burbank from Burbank High School, and
Yes.
she had played in one film before this, and Gene Kelly, liked her, and they put her together with Gene Kelly, and here is one of those classic cases where we see this in the old movies where you have a leading man that's like 20 years older than the leading lady. They did that a lot. And somehow we buy it and it's believable, and these love affairs. We just saw one the other night, Funny Face, where Fred Astaire was like 30 years older than Audrey Hepburn, But anyway, the pressure on Debbie Reynolds, she was not a trained dancer, and she had to dance with two of the greatest film dancers. And Gene Kelly was a taskmaster. I mean,
And Gene Kelly did not want her or like her for this film.
well, I heard that he did like her, but not her dancing.
Okay.
Because Gene Kelly was a dance instructor to begin his, that's how
Okay.
he began in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
You're from Pittsburgh, right?
I'm from Pittsburgh, yeah.
Oh
Gene
my
Kelly's
gosh.
from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And he had a dance school there with his family, and they named the school after him, and that's how he started. Then he went off to Broadway, and they called him the dance doctor because he would fix up dance routines on Broadway. And then he got his break.
But yet, I'm surprised to hear that because who got Debbie Reynolds through the film was Fred Astaire.
Well, what I heard about that, Susie, was this. What I read or whatever is that one day Fred Astaire was with MGM, and at that time anyway, and later in his career, he was much later, and of course Gene Kelly, and this was an MGM project. One day he was walking through the studio, and Debbie Reynolds, the story is she was under the piano and crying.
Right, on the sound stage.
She was crying, and because Gene Kelly was working her so hard, and she was dancing. And Gene Kelly made Frank Sinatra do like 73 takes in Anchors Away in 1944. Frank Sinatra is Mr. One take Frank, and that's it. But this was early Sinatra. And she said that she rehearsed and danced till her feet were bleeding, and she was under the piano crying because she couldn't get the dance steps. And then I heard that Fred Astaire found her, and he said, "I will help you. I will work with you." And what did you want to say about that?
No, and he rehearsed with her, and was patient with her, and we were looking off to the side here.
Don't worry.
Yeah, he was patient with her, and he got her through this number because she's tap dancing and performing with them, and she is not a dancer. She's had no serious dance training.
No formal training.
No formal training, and she is tap dancing with the best of them.
Okay, so we're going to see Good Morning, which is a great number to illustrate this point. This is Debbie Reynolds dancing with Gene Kelly and Donald O'Connor.
Here we
and
go.
a great number. Let's take a look.
Friday.
Well, there you have it. Good Morning. What a great number that was. Well, I know it so well by heart, and of course, what ends up happening is they get the idea right there that Debbie Reynolds is now going to speak the part and sing the part for Lena Lamont, and they sync it to her. Anyway, it gets a little bit crazy. So now, what are we drinking next?
Well, this is one of my favorites. It's a BV Tapestry, and it's funny. I was talking with Susan before, and we talked about how there are some very entry-level BVs.
Yes.
And that was all you had been familiar with.
Correct.
And I actually erred, and I picked up a blend. And I thought I was picking up the Cabernet, but that's okay, it's still wonderful. And this one is, what do we say, Cabernet, Merlot, a Cab Franc, a Malbec, and a Petit Bordeaux. And this winery and their reserves, I just think it's wonderful. And as I said, with me, it's always a story, and I'm sure it's a pain in the ass to listen to. But
no, but that's the best thing about wine are the stories behind the wine, and whether it's a story about the winery and that, or the stories that what you relate to.
That's right.
And that's what makes wine such a wonderful thing.
So I was in North Jersey with a friend of mine in the gem business, and Judy and I were meeting him, at his place of business, and then afterwards he took us to dinner. This little place near where he grew up, and he says, "I gotta show you this great wine." So 2.5 bottles. Now, the reason it's 2.5 bottles because he spilled a half on Judy. So we were having a good time.
Ouch.
But no, we really did it. And ever since that time, We love that wine, and it's so good. And we keep about between 1 and 2 cases always in our wine
of the Tapestry Cab, and this is the Bordeaux blend.
Correct.
Now, Larry, before you finish it off, because I want to bring up some. I don't want to interrupt.
No,
I want
go
to finish your stuff about the wine, but I want to talk to you about. And I know you're saying you can't smell anything, and this is kind of really your first foray into wines. But if you smell this, you get a vegetal like bell pepper. It's really a vegetal note on this. And one of the things also that helps when you're smelling and you get your nose right in there, if you open your mouth a little bit and you get a little cross ventilation, it does does that help a little bit? Some people it does and some people it doesn't.
Now, one of the things that...
and then also if you cover your hand and swirl it and then it kind of let it out, that might also help. But at least have you noticed perchance that the wines we've had, you may not pick out notes, but have you noticed they have smelled a little different? Or they all smelling like red wine to you? Which is okay.
It's kind of like smelling all like red wine.
No, what I think will happen is later on, in the after party, we will pour 3 or 4 glasses of different bottles and let them go one to the next.
To the next.
As opposed to smelling and tasting and smelling and tasting.
On a little sidebar on that, do you know the best time to do wine tasting?
When?
10, 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
It really is. If you ever do any industry wine tastings or really, nobody wants to drink wine. You think, I'm not going to drink wine. Well, actually, we should all be spitting. But your palate is fresh. Mm-hmm. And then they say it's fresh again at around 4:30, 5 o'clock. But at this time of night, we've all had a long day, we're tired, we've eaten many foods during the day, so our palates are already kind of exhausted or shot. But I just wanted to throw that in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this is a Merlot.
No, it's a blend.
Right.
So a lot of times you'll see wines are a collection of a number of different grapes. And usually there has to be a certain amount, like if it's a cab can be only 70% cab.
Okay.
In this case, was it 70?
No, it not can only be. If it is, it's 75%. If it's in California, if it's going to state that it's a cab, it has to have at least a minimum of 75% Cabernet. It can have, and actually the numbers change and there's different numbers and different AVAs, and so I'm thinking it's 75, it could be 85%. It's, but but this is what they call a Bordeaux blend because these are 5 grapes that are grown in the Bordeaux region in France.
Bordeaux blend.
Mm-hmm.
A Bordeaux blend, which is Cab Merlot, Cab Franc, Petit Verdot, and Malbec. And then the next wine we're going to be tasting, not to rush us, but when we do taste it, this is what they call a left bank Bordeaux because it's Cab dominant. We're going to be tasting a Washington wine, which is a blend Merlot dominant, and that would be a right bank Bordeaux.
So this sounds expensive.
Well, it's a little bit pricier than some of them that we've had. But one of the things I wanted to talk about that, as I said, you'll find a lot of great bargain wines that are really great quality wines that you won't spend a lot of money. My recommendation is always have a few in there that are the special occasions. Because again, this is about life. So Judy and I, if we're having something that we want to celebrate or just we want to celebrate life that day, we say, you know what? We're going to do something special tonight. We're going to have our BV Tapestry Reserve.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah. And if you're spending that kind of money, certainly with the internet, to do your research so you can enjoy it more. It's like spending a lot of money on a nice vacation and going somewhere abroad or whatever. If you do a little research beforehand, it just enhances.
Oh, awesome point. To your point, you talked about internet one. This is the one we have delivered. When I do, I get 2 cases.
Wow.
Well, because what I spent today was $50 or so in the store, but I get delivered for maybe $29 a bottle.
Right.
And you buy it in direct.
Buy it direct. You buy it in volume. If you buy it in bulk, you get a discount. Yeah. Also, if you go to your local wine shop, you can get a mixed. Most places will do a mixed case, And you don't have to buy 12 bottles of the same wine, but if you buy a mixed case, you get a 10% or 20% or 15%, depending on what your wine shop has to offer. We got that great deal, buy one, get one free on that Italian wine.
Rosso Montalcino.
Yes, yeah.
Which is a great deal for that wine.
Yeah, well, it was a little more, but I don't want to backstep into that,
Il
but
Poggione.
Il Poggione, thank you.
Il Poggione.
Yeah.
Well, now we've tasted what, 5 or 6?
I'm not doubting when it comes to numbers. I'm leaving it to you.
Okay,
I've lost count.
So I mean, does one stick out in your mind over? But they're all different.
They're different. This is too hard.
And we still have my favorite coming up. I'm saying my favorite winery because I've never tasted it and I'm really excited. But so far. But you know what? I love this. I love that Mackey.
I can't. That's the problem.
But I loved the Rosso.
Yeah, the problem is
they're
all
different.
different. It's like trying to talk about your children.
Okay.
Or
they're very different.
More importantly, or not more importantly, it's like trying to say you had a great intro, like the best Mexican food to the best Italian food.
Mm-hmm.
They're both good, but you know.
Yeah, I kind of like the whites. I mean, the reds are good, but they're great, but they're heavy. The white just feels lighter. No?
Yes. And I'm sorry, you looked at you and I answered yes.
Sure.
But beginner drinkers start usually with whites. And when you're ready to take those training wheels off and get into the reds. But when people say like, oh, I don't drink white, I only drink red. It's like, well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for you because there's so many. I drink white wines. What did we drink last night? The Burgundy, the white Burgundy. I mean, I love white wines.
Well, and Judy is a huge fan of whites, but for me, they always come across too sweet for me. Well, because I'm sweet enough.
Yeah, but but you know what? Have you had a good?
No, I have. Honestly, on my wine tastings, I will drink the whites.
Okay, yes, but have you had a Roussanne? And I'm not a Roussanne fan. That's a Roussanne Marsanne or Viognier. Viognier you'd probably find too sweet.
Yeah.
But
I'll try that.
Yes, and of course I love good like a Sancerre.
Yeah, and I've had some ice wines, and I've had.
Well, those are going to be sweet.
Yes, I've had a lot of them, but when I'm just drawn. I mean, it's.
Yeah, you're just drawn to it. Yeah,
I'm drawn to it.
But sometimes in the summertime, in the afternoon.
That's when I have a beer.
Okay. And by the way, being from Washington, being from Seattle, or living in Seattle. Too. Well, yes, and that's a whole other thing, Larry. We can do IPAs. Do you like IPAs?
Indie Pale Ale. That's another Sip and Clip day. Will be the beer tasting.
The beer thing, because man, beers are so good now in microbreweries, and it's fantastic.
Well, we still have, I think, 4 more bottles of wine to get.
We may not finish them.
We may not finish.
But we've got to get to the Beauty.
Okay, we'll get to it. But in the meantime, I really want to get somebody out there to give us a call. Join in the show. By the way, we're giving away a pair of tickets to one caller tonight. AMC movie theater tickets. These are I think the gold label or whatever they are, but they're pretty much good at any movie. And we're going to give it to the best call of the night. And we've already had a couple of calls, 2 great calls, but call in, join the show. You see the number on the screen.
I'd hate to have your job picking out between those calls. So they were both.
Well, we'll all decide right here, and we'll announce the winner at the end of the show. But you can't win it if you don't call. So give us a call, tell us your favorite wine, ask us a question, or if you have Skype video, you can video Skype us, and we'll put you on a split screen. Okay, so again, we're giving away a pair of tickets tonight. I think we should do one more clip from our movie tonight, Singin' in the Rain. And before we go to that clip, what is going to be our next wine tasting?
I am so excited. I am going to be opening the Beauty.
Is this the one that you're waiting for?
This is, when it's open, I gotta be careful. Yeah, this is what I'm waiting for. This is my favorite winery. I didn't bring the Rediviva of the Stones, and but I brought this. This is a Merlot Franc blend from Walla Walla.
Okay.
And I'm very excited about this because Caleb Foster, who owns this winery and is the winemaker, is one of my favorite winemakers.
Now, Paul, have you heard of this one?
I've not heard of this one. I'm excited about it.
This is small.
Yeah.
Small winery, small production, and just fabulous. So I'm
now
very excited.
I know that I'm going to oversimplify.
Yes.
For my friend Larry here.
Okay.
But as you're getting into it, there's a certain almost pecking order, since you say you like things that are not heavy, like you're feeling some heavy things that we've drank tonight. So I find, for the most part, and there are exceptions, I've had Merlots that tasted just like a really earthy cab.
Yeah.
But some of them are, I think, a little smoother, a little lighter than what you find in a cab. And then, of course, you get into Pinots. It's a whole different thing we haven't even talked about.
We don't want to go there.
Right.
Yeah.
So you may find an interesting different taste in the Merlot influence than you did in the cab.
So this
Yes.
one was a cab-dominated blend. That's a Merlot.
A Merlot dominated.
So this is Left Bank
Yes.
because it's a cab-dominated
Yes.
blend of a Bordeaux, 5 different grapes, whereas from France. Whereas that is a blend from which we call a right bank from the state of Washington. That's a Merlot
Right.
dominated, and we
Right.
call that the right bank.
Right.
See, I've been
because
listening.
and actually your memory astonishes me. That's very good, Larry. And I always said I left the cab to help me remember left and right. But
Well,
right, yeah.
We'll show one
left the
more.
cab to go
We're
to the
going to
bank
show
on the right
one
side of
more
the street.
clip,
Yes.
guys. We're doing a sip and clip here, so we're going to show one more clip from Singin' in the Rain. And I'm thinking, what do we have left? I mean, we know we have Singin' in the Rain left. If we want to show that, are we too tired of that?
Well, I'm never tired of that,
could you
but I mean,
Okay.
But pick your favorite.
what else would it be?
Pick your favorite.
Oh, except make them laugh. Mystery.
Okay. All right, we have a mystery caller on the line. We'll decide what we're going to do in just a minute. But hello, caller. Welcome to the show. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Who's this?
Hi, Aunt Susie.
Oh, hey, girl, I love you.
I love you. I'm watching you guys talk about wine.
Hi, Phyllis. This is my baby Phyllis on the phone.
And wait a second. Hey, Sophie or Phyllis, I want to call her Philly cream cheese. Do you, Phyllis and I drank wine together, and she knew a little bit about Spanish wines. Are you drinking wine tonight, watching us, Phyllis?
No, I just got in from work and thought I'd log on to hear you. But it's always fun to drink with my aunt. Yes.
Awesome. Well, we'll have to. I would love to get together with you, and I just love to see you again.
Phyllis, Aunt Susie is moving up to Vancouver.
Yes.
I know.
So, would you come visit me?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's beautiful up there.
Awesome. Girl, oh, that's right, because we went to Vancouver together.
We went to Whistler.
We went to Whistler. We spent the day in Vancouver. Yes.
Spent one day in Vancouver. We had a 10-day vacation.
Yes.
You had to cut out
I had
after
to cut
5 days.
early. Yeah. So what's up? How are you?
I'm good. I miss you guys, and I wish I was there with you.
I do too. I wish you were here.
Do you recognize the studio, sweetie?
Yeah.
Yes, it's very cool. I like this setup a lot.
Yeah, we totally rearranged everything here. But
I know Judy's behind us.
I don't know if we can show that. I mean,
I see.
if you kind of just tilt the whole thing back, just the whole stand, the whole stand, just tilt it back a little bit. Yeah, and come forward.
Come forward. There, it's perfect.
Right there.
Right there. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's what's
There
on,
it is.
and then just come down slowly. Come down, bring it down slowly.
Yeah.
Oh.
Stand it up slowly.
Pan slowly down.
Just stand up the camera on its feet. That's it.
You can be a little
And
faster.
We're
We're
That's
there.
it.
Actually, she did perfectly.
Beautifully,
did.
nicely done.
To our camera.
That was done. But
Yeah,
that's
she
our
did that blindly.
that's our Judy Garland.
Yeah.
But you notice I switched the spot for this shoot,
Yeah, it used to be on top of the fireplace.
and that's
Yeah.
where it's going to go back to.
So Phyllis, does this look like a little bit of Wayne's? Oh, she probably doesn't know Wayne's World.
Wayne's World.
Wayne's World.
Party time,
Party
excellent.
time.
Well, thank you for calling in, sweetheart. But unfortunately,
Okay.
you can't win the movie tickets. All right.
Okay, sounds good. Frank says hello.
I love
Okay.
you, sweetheart.
I love you,
you too.
Phyllis.
All right. Bye.
Bye, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.
I don't know her, and I love her too.
She's adorable. She's the best.
That's his daughter.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's my niece.
My
That's
baby.
great. That's
My
Yeah.
niece.
She's my baby. She's almost 32 now.
Huh?
She'll always be a little Philly cream cheese
I
to
know,
me.
exactly.
Okay.
So, all right, you know what we'll do? We'll do Singin' in the Rain. And
Okay.
it's iconic. I mean, this is kind of a signature number for all musicals. And you know, Gene Kelly said that they couldn't think of a way to get it started, and then I forgot who made the suggestion of the whistle.
Yeah.
To just kind of kickstart the whole thing, and that's what got it going.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but all right, let's take a look at that, and when we come back, we're going to get into a little bit of Merlot-dominated Bordeaux.
There you go.
The rain, we're having a sip
We're
of...
drinking in the rain.
We're drinking in the rain.
And it's raining outside.
It is raining outside. Do you hear
Yeah.
it out there? So, in any case, what we're going to do now is we're going to be sampling, this is called Beauty.
Beauty, B-U-T-Y. It's Beauty Winery, and this is 58 Merlot, 42 Cab Franc. It's Washington, from Columbia Valley, which is the wine region in Washington State. And this is what you would call a right bank Bordeaux, because right bank Bordeauxs in France are Merlot dominant.
Okay.
Right off the nose, I got a lot of heat, but this is 14.3% alcohol.
So when you say you got a lot of heat,
Do you get a lot of burn on your nose?
okay. I mean,
That it's softening up, and we didn't talk about the viscosity or legs on a glass, and I don't know if we want to start that now.
Actually,
This has a
remnants
this
of it,
yeah. And when you swirl and you see, Larry, if you pull the wine up and you can see these drippings,
like legs.
they're called legs.
oh, I do see that,
Yeah,
yes.
and the thicker and bigger the what they call legs, and I'm also lifting this up and I'm seeing a lot of water stains. Okay, but that's the viscosity of the wine, and the more viscosity or the heavier legs, it's the alcohol content. And then there's another thing that they call tears. Sometimes you do this, you swirl, and you really kind of almost see red stains, and that's the extraction, or how much of there's, you know about extracted wines. Yeah.
This, by the way, is very nice, and it is because there's still a lot
Actually, it's pretty elegant on
Yeah.
the nose. I don't know what the taste. I haven't tasted it yet.
Little wine tasting here.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, you know what? And let's talk about Cab Franc. This is Merlot Cab Franc. There was some Cab Franc in your
A little
BV.
bit, yeah.
And you know about Cab Franc?
Yeah, it was the least of what
Right.
was in,
Well,
yeah.
and so Cab Franc, I love Cab Franc. Petit Verdot, not so much a fan of, but Cab Franc is a lighter grape as far as it's brighter. It has a lot of acidity. If you drink just 100% Cab Franc, which has become very popular in the last few years,
Yeah.
in California and in Washington, where back in the 1990s, you just would never buy a bottle of 100% Cab Franc. Cab Franc was a blending grape. Now people are drinking 100% Cab Franc. It's a red wine, but it's kind of lighter in body. It's higher in acids, and that's why it's a good blending grape. You blend it with Cabernet or Merlot because it'll add a little brightness and acidity, and it has that kind of bright tart cherry flavor to it. And so when you take a nice heavy Merlot and add a little Cab Franc or some Cab Franc to it, I like it. I'm not a fan. Well, I drink Cab Franc, but I have coworkers who just love drinking Cab Franc. But I do see the allure of it, and I really do love.
This is very nice.
This is nice.
Very nice.
And Caleb Foster, who is the winemaker, owner of Beauty, anything he makes, I drink because
So,
I love him.
Help me out. This is my first time. So what are we talking here? Where's our price range?
This probably goes for anywhere from $40 to $55. You might get it for $35 to $55.
That's money well spent.
Yes.
Yeah.
He does a wine, and it's my all-time favorite wine, and I didn't bring it because
Larry's quite frankly not worth it. Is that what you're saying?
kind of. And you were an unknown entity. It's called, and it's made by Beauty, and Beauty is B-U-T-Y, and it's called Redeviva of the Stones, and it is a Cab Syrah blend, which is really unusual because now you're blending Bordeaux and Rhone. It's those two grapes that usually are not blended together. It's fantastic. It really is phenomenal.
All right, so my question now, off topic a little bit.
Yes.
Biggest religious experience with the wine, like the one that just okay.
Yes. It was in the
That's a good one.
1990s.
Uh-huh.
I was living in Sun Valley, Idaho, in Ketchum, Idaho, because I moved there. I lived there for 9 years because I love to ski. It's a great ski town. I love Ketchum. And the first time that's how I really got into wine. I worked 5 years at Sun Valley Wine Company in Ketchum, Idaho, and somebody opened up. So this was the 1990s. And somebody probably opened up this was a 92 or maybe it was an 88. I don't know what it was. They opened up a Leonetti Merlot from Walla Walla. And if anybody who doesn't know about Leonetti is the first winery in Washington State, in Walla Walla. It was, I tasted it and I realized, two things. And that's when I realized, this is what a Merlot's supposed to taste like. Was incredible, and I can still talk about when people in wines, they say this is a long finish. That had an extraordinary long finish because I'm still tasting it now.
Oh, come on.
I can still taste it now. And then this is what then totally blew when I realized, oh my God, now I can understand why people become such wine freaks.
All right, wait a minute. We have a skeptic.
Wait a second.
Right?
Again, at the same wine shop, Sun Valley Wine Company, a wine bar wine shop, I tasted an E42, which is from Burgundy, a Pinot Noir, and I don't remember the year, and I had drank Pinot Noirs, and till that time I really loved Landmark, it was a Grand Detour Cuvée, or no, it wasn't, a Pinot, and I tasted this E42, and I don't think I've tasted a Pinot Noir. I just cannot. I try to revisit that experience or what is it called? I try to do that.
Replicate.
Thank you. I can't replicate
I'm like
that.
that thesaurus here tonight.
Yeah. I've always had a hard time with words, but I'm much better with numbers. I can't. That E42 was incredible, and that E42 is a Pinot Noir from Burgundy, and we didn't do Pinots tonight. Pinot's a hard grape to really kind of. Pinot demands food.
I do too. Judy loves, her Pinots.
She loves Pinot Noirs?
Yeah, she does.
Well, Pinot Noirs take an educated palate, so.
I know, and for me, she loves them, and I've picked out a few that were quite nice. I tire of them. Yeah, as my
wow,
best,
they're tiring. Yeah,
as my word. But no, listen to our skeptic over here,
okay.
Your brother, your big brother. She talked about the length of something. So there have been times you've had to smell something that reminded you of grandma cooking Thanksgiving dinner or something like that.
Yes.
I mean, so that's I think that's what
you can recall the flavor. You can,
and I think that's
there's certain smells that take you back.
Okay, well, we have a caller on the line, and it's Michael from Seattle.
Hey, Michael.
Michael, are you with us? Well, he's going to be with us in a minute, I guess.
We're holding on.
But
anyway,
he had to put us on hold, I think.
I understand. He's had enough of us tonight. No, one of the things that I think...
Go ahead.
Oh, see,
all right, Michael
okay.
from Seattle, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. I can hear you.
Okay.
Oh, good.
So what do you have for us, Michael?
Oh, so I have a question.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so I apologize. I'm getting a little feedback from my voice, but I'll wait. I'm curious to know about a wine region in France called Moderon, and I'd like to know more about the grape varietals they use in their winemaking there.
Okay, now, by the way, I have to be honest. This is my friend Michael.
Oh.
And hi, Michael. Thank you
for a secret your screener wasn't going to tell.
Thank you for calling. And right now, hey, Michael, right now we just opened up the Beauty Merlot-Cabernet Franc, and it's exquisite.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Oh, you've had it?
Yeah, remember you shared it with me about a month and a half ago, and that's the first time I had it.
Not the Beauty Merlot-Cabernet
Not
Franc.
Rita Viva, the Merlot-Cabernet Franc.
We drank this?
Yes, we did. Fabulous.
See, this is why Michael's my memory. I totally do not remember. Michael, I swear to God, I don't remember.
It also comes for people who might want to be traveling on a plane and can't take a full bottle. It also comes in a split.
Oh, excellent.
175 milliliters, $28.99.
I love it.
I love it. All right, so we haven't drank any French wines. We did drink an Italian wine. So Maturon, to answer your question, Maturon.
Okay, so Maturon, and I'll help a little bit. You guys are probably Googling it. Maturon, it's a region in southwest France, and they specialize in a wine, and they use a particular grape varietal, and I'd like to know more about that.
Well, why don't you? I know you know more about it for me. Will you tell us about it?
Okay, so they use the grape varietal called Tannat. It's spelled Tannat.
Do you know this? Okay.
And also Tannat has been exported or imported to Uruguay, and they're using it there to make a lot of wine. Don't waste your money on it. It's not that good.
Okay.
Stick with France, the Maturon area of France. Maturon is spelled M-A-D as in dog, I-R-A-N.
Well, great. Hey, Michael, actually, there's a little. You know how they say the French paradox, that why do the French have low? Is it not blood pressure, but they have low cholesterol, and yet they eat the butter and the fatty cheeses and pâtés.
Oh, perfect. So I'm glad you asked that. So there's two really fascinating pieces of trivia information about the grape Tannat. First of all, for example, a Cabernet Sauvignon Blanc or Cabernet Sauvignon or a Blond grape or something like that, a red grape. If you squeeze it, the juice that comes from those red grapes is actually clear.
Right.
The Tannat grape, the juice that comes from a Tannat grape is actually purple, not clear.
I did not know that.
And number two, Tannat has the highest level of polyphenols or antioxidants of any other grape varietal, and therefore the wine. And as a result, the more of it you drink, the younger you become.
We like that.
I know, so we should be drinking
So
Maturon.
if I start now.
Yes.
Yes.
And as a result, that flushes out all the cheeses, all the fats, everything else the French eat, and smoke more, and they probably drink more wine and they have more sex. Too.
Okay.
And they forget about bathing. Who cares?
So what have you been drinking tonight?
Well, I had a lovely Garnacha and a Ribera del Duero and a Malbec from Argentina that was from who's the guy from Cross Farm in California?
Yeah, I know Paul Hobbs. Yes.
Yeah, so Paul Hobbs, he's another flying winemaker, and you can explain to the audience about flying winemakers.
Yes.
And Paul Hobbs, he has a Malbec project, and I have I think McLaren Vale, Barossa, Shiraz, and then I had a.
You had all these wines in one night, Michael? Michael, you had all these wines tonight?
I had tastes of them.
That's a light night. Hey, listen.
Nice wine shop. And
Michael, don't listen to the heathen over here. That's a good night.
I just had a little taste. It was a little sip. And then I bought a nice rosé. And then I sent Susan the photos. I emailed. I went to a concert in the park on the water on Lake Washington here in Seattle. Wow. And opened my rosé and sat there. Sent you guys some photos.
Now I have a question for Michael. Okay, Michael, this is Larry. I'm Susie's older brother, and she told me.
Larry.
Hi, Michael. She told me that she had a friend in Seattle that there was a little place across the street from her apartment. I know Susie's apartment well, 2 blocks from the fish market. And she said they have great wines there, but the glasses are terrible. So she won't go, her and her friend won't go there. Is that you?
We're talking about Le Pichet.
Could be.
Yeah.
That's Marché.
No, Le Pichet.
Oh, Le Pichet. That's across the street.
Yeah, that's what
You know your sister. She doesn't have any friends.
But you know, Michael.
Tell all a lie. She's lying to you. She doesn't have any friends.
Yeah. So Michael and I actually met at Le Pichet, but the problem with Michael, sometimes
She's like Jimmy Stewart and Harvey the Rabbit.
I like that movie too. Actually,
Yeah.
we should do that.
Yeah, but
I'm just an imaginary friend. She made a recording before she left.
Is he the one that you and him won't go there because of the glasses?
We do go there occasionally, but the problem is because they have actually great French wine. All they do is French wines. They have great French wines, and they serve them. You can get it by the glass or by a demi-pichet or pichet, and pichet means pitcher. Like a pitcher, Pitcher. But
I know how to spell.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know. Okay, but the wine glasses, Michael, don't the wine glasses kind of suck?
Oh yeah, they're kind of little thick glass goblets. It's
hate
almost
that.
as bad as drinking wine out of a coffee mug.
I hate
Okay, and hey, Michael, the first thing I did when I came to Minnesota, my brother and I went shopping, and I bought him a set of Riedels.
Which we're
Oh, you
using
did?
tonight.
Good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we were going to drink out of coffee mugs.
Oh no, you can't. Did explain to you about the physiology of mechanics? No, you can't drink out of a coffee mug.
Yeah, well, we're learning that. We're learning. Michael, I want to thank you for calling in and participating in the show.
Oh, you're welcome. I've actually watched. She's actually, I don't know what's the right word, technology words, but she's actually shown me. So I've had a chance to watch you before.
Oh, but are you watching this? Are you
both
watching?
your webcast and your Sterling broadcast.
Well, thank you so much, Michael. Appreciate the support.
Okay, you guys have fun.
Thanks.
Thank you so
Thanks
much,
for calling
Michael.
in.
All right, bye.
Thanks. Great call, Susie. So he is the one that you and him won't go and drink there because of the glasses.
Well, and we still do, but one of the things is we go there because it's convenient, it's across the street, and we'll
Can
go
you bring
there.
your own glasses?
No, I bet I could
That's the
because
deal, yeah.
because it's a neighborhood place,
Right.
and they know me, and I bet
you could. That's what you do.
Maybe they'll just keep
because
it.
you know what I'm talking about.
I do. I completely do. I've gone to places, and sometimes you got to bring your own glass.
We never did that, but it's still my go-to place. And I go
They have
there,
great wine.
but it's
Bring
like
it in
But then when we're thinking, it's like, where do we want to go? We want to, we're in the mood. We want to do some great wines and stuff. And it's like, but the glassware, it's a problem.
I'm telling you, this is the answer. I'm telling you.
Thank you.
Bring your own glassware.
All right, we are ready to travel down under.
Oh,
Okay, now this is going to be the last one.
All right.
No,
so,
there's
Last
one
two.
more.
Last two.
We're going to have to do them kind of quick.
all right.
All
So,
right, we'll do it quick.
so Paul.
I know Station wants to
Paul,
go.
you do
If
the-
we could get one more caller, call us in quick. We're going to be wrapping it up. What are we doing next, Paul?
We're doing Shiraz and from the Barossa Valley in Australia. And honestly, I've had a chance to travel.
Let's do the reserve. Yours.
Mine first? Okay.
This is what you brought in.
This is what I brought. And
Yeah.
what I love,
save that for last?
What I love about
Well,
this,
'cause this is-
it's to me this is a wonderful wine. It's also a great value.
Okay.
It truly is. And
Yeah.
now I got I want to say this was a 2004 reserve.
That's
Yeah. And
Good.
I think it was still in the maybe $20 range. And that's what I'm talking about. You have some great values out of Australia. It's a wonderful wine. I think this is a wine that's great for almost anything that you want to eat. I really do. I just feel that way about these. I don't know if you do.
well, and it's really interesting when I told you I worked.
Sorry.
What
But that was
introduced
mine.
what
we
introduced
can't
me
pour
to
from this to
what
that,
introduced me to wines is I started working at Sun Valley Wine Company, and the manager, who is now the owner, Craig Spiller, is from Melbourne, Australia. He's an Aussie. He's a big Aussie, and we had a wonderful selection of Australian wines, and that's what introduced. So I've been a
I
fan
love
ever
it. And
since.
I have
Yes.
some great stories. We probably don't
look
have
at the
time
legs
for.
on this one.
And listen,
These tend to run 15%. Let's read what the.
I do just want to say though, I don't know if I want somebody pouring me wine whose name is Spiller.
I know, Craig Spiller. But you know what? To Craig Spiller, he's the one who turned me on to hired a person who had no experience in wines and got me started on my path.
This is.
Well, you had experience. You drank them.
You know, before that, you know, I didn't know. Yeah.
I love the smell of this, but I have to tell you that
there's a vegetal smell.
When I went there for the first of all, I'd always had some Shiraz in my collection. I've always enjoyed it. Even you can get very affordable bottles that are $12, $13, $14, and they're wonderful. And then I went there, and I think I was telling you about the Jim Barry winery, and it literally at the time I was in Australia, it had just won the best Shiraz in the London wine show, and it was $16 a bottle Australian, which was literally probably about $10 US. And it's just a wonderful wine. I've traveled in many restaurants over there and had the real peppery ones that you talk about.
Right, yeah.
The real smoky ones. I just love it. I love almost. I'm hard pressed to find a Shiraz I don't like.
Are you familiar with any of Sparky, you know, the Molly Duker or Velvet Glove?
Oh yes, I've tried.
Yes.
I've tried those, and there's another one I tried just the other day in a restaurant, and I didn't take a picture of it. I can't remember the name of it, but I love to experiment with.
Yeah, and I've never had. Do you know who John Duval is?
What's the?
Well, he's the
I love
Grange.
it. I had it in Vegas. It's awesome.
You've had Grange?
No, it was.
No, because it's a $450 bottle of wine retail.
No. This is.
Plexus.
Now it begins with an E.
Oh, not the.
It's a John Duval winery, and I have, I have a picture.
Well, John Duval came from Penfolds.
Yeah, exactly. I have it in my.
And then his winery was. He went on his own and thought it was Plexus, but he has a wine starts with an E.
Yes, and I have it in my stupid iPad, and it's in my car. Oh, I'll show it to you off.
Yeah, and then do you know anything about what is the one? It's not Clarendon Hills, but it's the one that's like with the I, Amara.
Oh.
And that's really fabulous stuff too.
And even the Greg Norman over there is not bad. It's funny.
Greg Norman's not bad at all, actually.
You know what's funny?
What's so funny?
The way you guys talk about wine is hysterical. No. It's awesome. It's awesome.
No, I'll tell you the funniest thing. My first time I ever had the Greg Norman Shiraz was here in the United States.
Oh yeah.
So I go.
By the way, this is fabulous.
Isn't it great?
I'm going to tell you something.
Yeah, this is new to me.
And this is smoky. Yeah. But you know what? Hello. This, you call it a Shiraz. This is a Syrah Shiraz. This has that same element
that we had
before. Yeah. It has that smoky tar, bacon. I'm getting tar, which I love.
I need to get a case of this. I'm telling you this right now. But this is a true story. So Judy and I do a wine tour when we happen to be in Australia.
Did you get some?
And I had the Greg Norman.
Yeah.
And then I go over there. We went to his golf course and his restaurant.
In where? In Australia?
In Australia. They didn't serve it. And we're like, what? He sells it all to the States.
That's not right.
Well,
they should have some for the homeland.
No,
but you know
what? But it's great for us. But that's interesting. And so he's marketing, and he also, so that means also he's blending to the American palate as well. But I'm wondering what the Australian palate is.
Well, no, the Australian palate is very interesting. I could listen. We could do a whole show on stories about Australia, but we don't have time.
Yeah, and my friend Michael has been to Australia, but you know what? The whole time he was in Australia, this was when he was younger, and he wasn't into wine, and he can just kick himself.
No, wonderful wines.
Yeah.
And but what's even funnier is you can go to these in the outback. You can go to these truck stops that are like dirty and dusty bottles, and friends of mine that know wine would sit there and say, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe they had this for like the price."
Right.
The person behind the counter doesn't know wine says, "Oh, there's dust on this. Let me take half off."
No kidding.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's great.
You're all about half off.
We got to get Larry, but we got to get Hugh. So, what was the name? So, what was the name of the Haskell's Wednesday nights? has a
On Wednesday nights, the guy gives wine classes.
Oh,
And
nice.
they have segments,
And
like one Wednesday could be Italian wines or
Maybe a
Irish
little
wines.
tasting in here.
Well,
and he does
yeah, they do
tastings and
tasting.
classes. It's free.
That's great.
And it's here in Minnesota, so.
Yeah, you would like the store, definitely.
I will check it out.
We'll go together. It's not far from the gym where you and I played basketball.
Oh, okay.
And
Very
Larry,
sorry.
I'd
Off
love
of
to
Del
see.
Road.
That would be a good start for you, and I think you would. But you've never been an alcohol intaker.
I mean,
Neither
you
of my
know.
parents. I was the only drinker.
Oh,
in the family.
Mom used to drink.
She never drank.
Mom used to drink. You don't remember. You didn't look. I'm telling you, Mom drank. Dad was not much of a
No,
drinker.
Mom never drank because it interfered with her pills.
But she would, when she would go out with Diane, they would drink.
Okay.
Am I going to have to step in between?
No.
No.
Is that what's going to have to happen?
No, but you remember her friend Diane. I think
Yes.
Diana's still alive.
I'm sure she is.
Well, I'm not so sure. She'd be older than, she'd be pretty old right now,
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah,
I think
that's
she's
true.
still. I think she's still alive. Anyway, we still have one more wine to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I know we have a Judy segment, but we still have one more wine to go.
well, why don't we do the Judy segment?
Judy,
because,
and we'll do this off air.
Because you know what? I can't. This is not a shot. I can't down this. So.
Okay, so we're going to go to the end of the show, and we'll announce the winner in just a moment. We're going to discuss it amongst ourselves. But this is that time of the show. I end every show, as you know, Paul, with my favorite. Is got to have a number from Judy Garland.
Absolutely.
So let's go to it now, Ronnie.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high.
Yeah,
I can't read it.
Okay, it's okay. All right, as is our custom, we always end every show with a segment we call Always Chasing Rainbows. And it's a segment where we feature one song by Judy Garland. I got to get a little Judy into every show. And, I always tell people it was my mom that got me started on Judy Garland. And now my sister is actually here. You can verify. Now, you were, obviously pretty young when Judy had her show. I mean, you were practically a baby.
I remember it.
But we used to be around that TV.
Yes.
I think it was Friday nights. Mom and Dad and me and you were like crawling around on the floor. But
No, I remember it, Larry.
but I mean, we couldn't miss Judy Garland. Of course,
Yeah.
that was Mom's favorite, and Dad's favorite was Nat King Cole.
Yes, it was.
Dad
And the
loved
Mills,
Nat.
and he loved the Mills Brothers.
Yes,
But he
absolutely.
loved Nat King Cole, and I remember that too.
Yeah, and so that kind of, to this day, Judy Garland is my favorite. And tonight, I thought I would kind of pull a little bit of a reprise because Paul was here with me about 7 months ago. And I did something when Paul was here that I've never done before. And we're going to repeat that. And that is, Paul's wife, you don't know this, Susie, but Paul's wife is also in the home shopping business. And she was a host on QVC for many years, and then they hosted together on HSN Home Shopping Network. Is she still doing some TV shopping
yeah,
stuff?
she
at
is
JTV?
at JTV, that's right.
At Jewelry Television. And of course, these are
And she's a Judy.
And she's a Judy.
And she's a Judy.
She's a Judy.
Okay.
And Paul and Judy are one of those kind of real sickening couples, where just like they're perfect for each other, and they're just, you look at them and it's just like perfect, and everybody just gets nauseated. But no, really, no, I'm kidding around, but I'm doing it in the nicest way because
absolutely.
Paul's a very lucky guy and she's a wonderful woman. And so what I did that I've never done before, just take a look. We're going to do a little Judy Garland just in time. Check it out.
Just in time, I found you. Just in time, before you came, my time was running low. I was lost, the losing dice were tossed, my bridges all were crossed. Nowhere to go. Now you're here, and now I know just where I'm going. No more doubt or fear. I found my way. For love came just in time. You found me just in time and changed my lonely life. That lovely day. Just in time, I found you. Just in time, before you came, my time was running low. I was lost, the losing dice were tossed, my bridges all were crossed, nowhere to go. Found my way, for love came just in time. You found me just in time and changed my lonely life. That lovely day, you changed my lonely life, rearranged my only life. You changed my lonely life. That lovely
Now, did I tell you they were sickening or what? I mean, no, but I'm kidding.
I think they look lovely.
Incredible.
It's a curse.
Very, Paul, you're very lucky.
I am lucky. And you know what? I caught her at a weak moment. She likes wine.
Okay.
And that's how you snag her.
It would be
See?
great.
The benefits
If she
of
were
wine.
stone cold sober, she never would have married me.
All right, listen, we discussed it and we decided that the winner for the movie tickets tonight is going to be Walter from, it's Walter from, was it Fitchburg, Mass?
Fitchburg, yeah.
Fitchburg, Massachusetts. Please, Facebook me, Walter, with your shipping address, and we'll mail out those tickets right away. Thank you for participating in the show. It's been great, having Paul Deasy here with my sister, discussing these wines, and I'm feeling pretty good right now. Paul, do you have any final
Parting
words tonight?
shots. Life is too short to drink bad wine.
There you go.
We like that. Susie, it's been great having you here. Do you have any final words for us tonight?
I was going to say, what is it? In Veritas. What is the thing?
Yeah.
In wine is truth.
In wine is truth, that's right.
So how do you say
wine
it?
is truth.
So in Veritas Vino?
Yeah, something like that. I've seen that in Italy, actually, yeah.
Yeah, in wine is truth.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight. Remember, never give up on your dreams. Always keep chasing those rainbows. And before I say absolutely goodbye, next week we are going to have a spectacular show. This was very different. This show stands on its own as a real standout for me. But next week we're going to be doing a special show on Eva Cassidy, and she's the singer that passed away in 1996 from cancer at only 33 years old. And 5 years after her death, her records rose to #1. And we have her parents going to be on the show by telephone, and I mean, she's sensational, and we're already working on that show next week, so you don't want to miss it next week. But until next week, I'm Larry Magen. Peace, love, and all good things.
Chill with Larry Magen.